This guy's girlfriend dumped him after 3 years, and you won't believe the reason. Shin Yuan is rich and handsome. He could have any girl at his feet. You couldn't expect less from him. Shin Yuan is dating the most popular girl in college, Jo Wanting. She absolutely loves her life of luxury. But one day everything changed. Shin Yuan's family went bankrupt. Do you know what happened next? On the very same day, Jo Wanting broke up with him. She said the 3 years were great, but now they just don't match anymore. And look at that. Her new man came to pick her up immediately. Shin Yuan was furious, but he didn't want to lose his reputation. So he told the new boyfriend, Jo Wanting is an amazing girl. Treat her with care. Then, he revealed all her preferences in bed and that she only accepts expensive gifts. The rich guy got furious too. He hit the gas and drove away. Shin Yuan isn't stupid. He knew many people were only by his side for the money. Even his friends left him. Right at that moment, a system window appeared. It revealed that Shin Yuan met the requirements for the perfect life system. The rules are simple. Any money he spends on girls who are interested in him, Shin Yuan gets back 3 times more. Also, can see exactly how interested they are. He sees a number floating above their heads. At first, he thought he was crazy, but then an incredible girl called out to him. This is Li Xiao, his college teacher. She came to talk because she saw he went through a breakup. She came to offer support. She said he will find a new love. Above the teacher's head, Shin Yuan saw a number and a heart. That is her affinity score with him. So the system is not a hallucination. The teacher told Shin Yuan to cheer up. She said he is smart, handsome, and polite. If he needs to talk about anything, he can come to her. Shin Yuan didn't expect his teacher to care so much. He felt a bit shy. Then she went even further. She knows about his financial situation. She offered to sign him up for a scholarship. At this point, Shin Yuan refused. Any money from the college would just be a drop in the ocean of his debts. The teacher said goodbye, but she reminded him again he can talk about anything, even his love life. This was the perfect opportunity for Shin Yuan to make his move. He held her hand, and he invited her for a drink as a thank you. He goes and buys the milk tea. His balance was 87 yuan. He spends 6 on the tea and receives 18 back, realizing the multiplied refund is real. His bank statement shows he earned 18 yuan, and his balance jumps to 99 yuan. If his affinity with her stays above 60 and he keeps spending money, he will receive the system's refund. This is his chance to pay off his family's debts. If he uses this right, they will be rich again. Shin Yuan will be back to his old self or even better than before. However, his current capital is only 99 yuan, and that is far too little. The priority is to secure enough starting capital and find the right girls to spend his money on. He manages to gather 8,000 in gold and 20,000 from loans. With the 99 yuan he had, he now possesses a total of 49,000 yuan. To Li, he is just a broke student, and if he wants her to accept an expensive gift, he must act cautiously. An hour later, he thinks about buying a bag worth 39,000 yuan and decides to say it is fake so Li will accept it. He doesn't know if the teacher has a boyfriend, but he knocks on her door and waits for a response. When she opens it, she asks what Shin is doing, and he apologizes for disturbing her as she was cooking. He says that during his 3 years of college, she took such good care of him that he wanted to give her something small as a symbol of his gratitude. Asking her to accept it, teacher Li says the bag doesn't look cheap. And because of that, she can't accept it. Li says she is a teacher, and her job is to treat all students equally, refusing the bag. However, the protagonist says it is fake and costs 200 when using his family situation as justification. He then states that if he didn't give her something to show thanks, he would be a bad person and that the bag is a gesture of gratitude. Lai realizes she can't refuse as it would hurt the young man even more and says she will return the favor on his birthday. At that moment, he enters her house while the food she was making starts to burn. The teacher asks if he has eaten yet and says he can stay for dinner with her. He wants to stay close to increase affinity and earn the refund, and he doesn't want problems with Li's boyfriend. His money hits the account and Shin receives 100,000, leaving him with a balance of 120,000 yuan. A 39,000 bag with a tripled refund made him profit practically 80,000 yuan. He had spent 80,000 yuan before. However, he had never earned this amount, this being the first time. Seeing that he did all this alone and while still young is a victory that brings him an incredible feeling. Teacher Li asked him to sit down and ask what he is thinking about as he is restless. Our protagonist asks if it will be just the two of them eating and where Li Zhao's boyfriend is. However, the teacher says she doesn't have a boyfriend. At that moment, the former rich guy helps the teacher untie her kitchen apron. A bit shy, the teacher says it isn't necessary. However, our hero sorts it out in an instant. Just then, the teacher's younger sister, Li Meng, appears annoyed and asks what they are doing. Shen says they aren't doing anything, and Li Xiao asks why she took so long and asks Meng to eat with them. Thus, she introduces her younger sister, and Shen Yuan greets her. However, Li Meng says she isn't feeling well, making the atmosphere heavy. Uncomfortable, our hero says he already ate before coming and decides to head back to the college. The teacher realizes he had just said a moment ago that he hadn't eaten and finds this strange. Li Meng tells her sister that he is up to something, and Xiao says he is just a student. The younger sister thinks it is wicked for a student to try to woo the teacher, and Xiao says she is seeing things. Yuan wonders what he should spend money on, as Li and he have a teacher-student relationship. However, she isn't like Zhou Wanting, who is only interested in money. Suddenly, a man bumps into him in the middle of the crowd. He realizes it is Lao Huang. Seeing that the man is acting strangely and shaking a lot, he asks what happened to him. He tells his friend that his goddess, Minhui, went to the movies with the jerk Li Jianpeng. This is Shen Yuan's roommate, Huang Haibao. Minhui is the most beautiful girl in the second year, and she had never exchanged words with his roommate. Shen laughs at Huang and tells him to stop joking as two girls approach them. Haibao remains hopeful as the girl went to the movies with a man, and that doesn't indicate anything malicious. Yuan knows that when you love a girl to the point of humiliating yourself, it won't end well. Suddenly, he notices he has 72 affinity points with a girl, a level higher than the teacher's. The girls talk about how Shen Yuan got dumped by his girlfriend, and the two keep whispering and gossiping about him. They say at the beginning of the semester he shouldn't have encouraged getting close, much less paying for drinks. Because a rich man is arrogant, and now that his family has gone bankrupt, he continues to act full of himself. The girl thinks it is good they are no longer together, and that he got dumped after 3 years. Shen finally finds someone he values and who can bring profit, but the numbers start to drop. So he refuses to stand by and do nothing while he loses points with her. He asks his friend if he would be bothered if he and Minhui got together. His friend says he has no chance with the goddess because he is no longer a playboy with a BMW. Seriously, for Haibao, it makes no difference as long as she doesn't end up with Li Jianpeng. Shen says that is what he wanted to hear and starts running towards the girl to try and talk to her. He approaches the girl suddenly, and her friend tries to protect her. However, the protagonist wants to know if she is free because he booked a table at a sushi restaurant. Inviting the girl out, she asks if Shen is asking her to dinner. Her friend warns that the minimum price is 1,000 per person and thinks he won't have money for that. After dinner, he wants to take a walk with her and asks for help buying a birthday present for his sister. He asks her to confirm by noon and says they will keep in touch until the next day. The girl finds it strange because first she went to the cinema with Li and now she is going to dinner with Shen Yuan. Her friend thinks it is no problem because it is a top-tier Japanese restaurant. And even if he is arrogant, he is handsome. And if he recovers his money, he will easily surpass Li. She won't lose anything by going as it is just dinner, and her friend can help her via message if anything goes wrong. At dusk the next day, we see the two entering the Japanese restaurant. Suddenly, the waiter starts bringing dishes for both of them, and they are very fancy. The girl says his family situation is not easy, and he doesn't need to spend so much. He asks her not to worry because the Japanese food at this place is worth every penny. Seeing her attitude, he knows it has been 2 months since he last played poker, and he needs to stay calm. She asks Shen why he invited her to dinner and to help with the sister's present. Then, the protagonist says he always wanted to ask her to dinner and just didn't have the right opportunity. He notices the affinity level starts to drop and thinks she didn't like the answer. During basic training, she always paid for drinks and they talked via message. When the girl realizes he remembers this, the affinity level increases. Our protagonist says he couldn't forget that, and the affinity increases even more. So he decides to stay calm when the affinity level reaches 70. 40 minutes later, he goes to pay, and the total is 2,920, but a discount slightly reduces the amount. The girl's monthly budget is 3,000, and the dinner would already take almost all of it. When she went to the cinema with Jianping, they ate at the college cafeteria, and in the future they would go out for dinner. Meanwhile, our hero swipes his card and pays the bill without saying a word. He notices the mission has begun. She had 72 and is now at 76 affinity level. Thus, he earned 10,000 yuan just with one dinner. This was truly incredible for him. The more she looks at him, the more she likes him. It must be the power of his money. The girl, very happy, takes his hand and says they need to go to the mall to choose the sister's present. They arrive at the city's shopping center and find his ex with a man. Zhou Wanning gets irritated because they broke up yesterday and Xin Yuan is already with another girl. Her current boyfriend wonders how he is spending so much money in a place like that. He is an exploited worker who bought several bags to win over Zhou Wanting. Meanwhile, our protagonist, despite being full of debts, still has several women surrounding him. He tells Mihoi that it is better to check other stores first to choose the gift. His ex's current boyfriend says they can look around as it costs nothing. Zhou Wanning confronts our hero about who this woman is. Xin Yuan says that by coincidence, he is at the mall buying a present for his sister. The jerk tells him to go to the toy wholesale store because he has no money to buy anything at the mall. His ex steps in front of Minhui and even without knowing her, warns that he will try to trick her. Yuan steps in front and says she has nothing to do with this and he hasn't tricked her at all. The current boyfriend says he shouldn't speak like that to Zhou and that a man should have class, pointing out they are exes. Furthermore, he comments on the bankruptcy and debt situation, saying he doesn't need to pretend to be rich. Our hero feels disgusted by both of them and thinks they deserve each other. It is better they stay together. There is a mission that if the level of negative emotions of others increases because of him, he earns a reward. At first, he wanted to give them dignity and avoid public humiliation. However, they messed with him. Therefore, the protagonist will take advantage of the system's mission. There is no reason to hold back. He starts walking with Minhui, saying they will go inside and look at a store. A woman in the store remembers he was a loyal customer, but she doesn't want to serve a bankrupt ex-rich guy. She thinks he will just try things on and buy nothing. However, she is pressured by her boss and goes to serve Shin. Ju approaches her boyfriend, June, and asks him to pay, and the store attendant goes to her. The colleague in the store doesn't like that the other one always serves the loyal customers, leaving the problematic ones for her. She wraps the bag, says her taste is refined, and that the accessories match her style. She continues flattering her, saying it matches the bags and that the total is 100,000 yuan. Meanwhile, Shun Yuan tells Minhui not to hold back on choosing the bag. She points to a bag and says she liked that one, which has a youthful design that his sister would love. The attendant reluctantly says the bags together cost over 50,000 won, and it will be expensive. Meanwhile, June is shocked by the bag costing 100,000 won. He already thought 20,000 was too much. Zhou Wanning tells June to pay quickly and show off his purchasing power, but in reality he doesn't have that much money on his card. Xin Yuan says he wants 2 bags and the accessories Zhou Wanting recommended. This leaves everyone in shock, including Minhui and the store attendant who thought Xin Yuan was bankrupt. Finally, the attendant says the total for the bags with accessories will cost 130,000 won. Right after the dinner refund, Shen Yuan has exactly that amount and pays with his card. The attendant goes to get the items for Shen Yuan, and internally, she thinks it's a waste of time to serve him. She doesn't think Shen Yuan is still as generous and carefree as before, picking up a 130,000 yuan set. Zhou Wanting gets angry and asks where the money comes from since Shen Yuan is broke and questions if he took out a loan. Shen Yuan says Zhou Wanting can think whatever she wants about him because it makes no difference. Also, Shen Yuan notices that June bought a bag that cost 20,000 yuan, which is nothing for Zhou Wanting. Shen Yuan states that a man should be generous because June's car must have cost 700,000 yuan. This means June should be able to spend more on bags for Zhou Wanting. Zhou Wanting asks June to show his purchasing power, but he bought the A8 with a loan and can't tell her that. June sees that Shen Yuan hits his weak spot. He says he needs to answer a call and starts to leave. June pretends to be on a call and says that projects over 1 million are not decided without him. The two leave humiliated, and Shin Yuan's negative emotion points increase, hitting his target. However, it's no longer worth arguing with them because the mission is already completed. Shin Yuan takes the bag and hands it to Min Hui, stating that it's for her, but Min Hui says it's too expensive. Shin Yuan says it's just a bag, and that after dealing with so much nonsense, Min Hui can accept this as an apology. Min Hui thanks him, and Shin Yuan tells her not to thank him so soon, because all the other gifts are hers. Min Hui asks if it's for Shen Yuan's sister, and he says his sister won't like it, unlike her who loves bags. If Shin Yuan buys this for his sister, she scolds him for splurging. Therefore, the bags are Min Hoi's from the start. Min Hoi thinks the whole set is too much and fears looking greedy. Shy about the situation, Hoi says she can't accept the gift. The protagonist insists and asks her not to worry. After all, it's just the beginning, and they still have a lot of time ahead. He feels bad if she refuses. After saying that, the system shows he completes a limited time mission, receiving 786,000 yuan as an affinity reward. He needs to take care of his money tree so that the affinity with the girl doesn't drop. He tells her to head back to school because it's getting late. Even though he wants to continue, he knows he can't rush things. He needs to let them happen naturally. The girl finds him different from Li Junping since he didn't mention anything about going to a motel. Li's friends think he did great for getting into the girl's room and winning over the class beauty. No one expected this from Li, and they want to celebrate with a dinner at his place. Shun Yuan hears Li bragging about winning over the girl, and it bothers him. They keep repeating that Li went to the movies with the girl so the whole school knows. The protagonist tells his roommate that Li's days are numbered and Fang Minhui won't end up with Li. His roommate, however, thinks Li got more than just a movie date. The roommate says it was Fang Minhui who refused to go out with Shen Yuan, and that makes it clear she really is with Li. The protagonist doesn't respond and starts checking his balance. He sees he has enough money to go home the next day. When the protagonist arrives, his uncle Shin Yao tells everyone he's home. In the living room, the protagonist's father says they are talking and that the protagonist should go to his room while the father discusses with the uncle. The father asks for more time because some goods will be paid for and he'll be able to return part of what he owes his brother. The partial payment won't cover the full amount for the next 2 days to keep things flowing. The mother says the father can't live his life this way. When the father didn't have money to open the car wash, his brother lent him 300,000. Now that they took 200,000 from the uncle, he's already demanding everything back. The father tries to defend himself saying the uncle also has his problems. However, the mother says they also have problems and that in the next few days, the uncle has no urgent expenses. After all, she spoke with the uncle's wife and the right thing to do is pay the debt. Luckily, they are relatives and can sort it out through talking. The mother gets angry and says that demanding payment so harshly is a huge ingratitude because the family helped him in the past. The father suggests selling some gold jewelry and that when he has money again, he'll buy them back. The mother says she doesn't want to hear this talk of buying them back anymore and that the debts must be prioritized. The system tells the protagonist that a perfect life should have no debts and his mission is to pay off the family's debts. The reward for this mission is that the moment the debts are paid, he will receive double the amount. This mission came at a good time, and he was already wanting to take a load off his father's mind. All the jewelry his mother received over the years is worth tens of thousands of yuan, so she plans to sell them to pay off a portion of the debts. She also realizes she lost 2 gold rings during the move. In his first year of college, he didn't have money to buy a bag for Joe, so he sold his mother's gold rings. Regretting what he did, he walks out of the room, telling his father and mother he has money. His parents say this is no time for jokes, and the money he has for food won't help at all. However, he is serious and says he has money in his account. His parents see he has 200,000 won. They are shocked and ask where he got the cash. He says the allowance they gave him was always generous, and he invested in bitcoins that appreciated in value recently. He wonders if this excuse will work as he really did receive a good allowance back then. The excuse works, and his parents are happy as they were saved in a very difficult time. They decide to pay off the uncle's debts, so he leaves their house quickly, telling him to get out as soon as the debt is settled, and that the family should speak as little as possible. Chun Yao is hostile towards his sister-in-law's aggressive words. His mother reinforces this and tells the uncle to get out of their house immediately. The uncle is expelled from the house and knows his brother owes almost 100 million. So the uncle wonders how Shin Yuan managed to pay off this debt so quickly and still has others. This makes the uncle question if his brother's family found some business opportunity and will get rich again. After what he did today, Shin Yao wonders how he will deal with the future and regrets coming to their house. He has reached the initial debt repayment goal and the system will send rewards soon. Shin Yuan receives 400,000 and then another million yuan, making his current balance reach 2 million yuan. Excluding exclusive shopping credits, Shun Yuan's net worth has already surpassed 1 million. He never imagined receiving so much profit in his life, but to completely pay off the debts, Shun Yuan still has a very long way to go. Even if he gave his father the entire 1 million, it wouldn't be enough to pay everything. So he wants this capital to generate more profit and decides to give his father another 200,000. Shin-yoon tells his father he didn't withdraw everything and has another 200,000 he can give him. His father says it's better to save it for now as the other debts are not as urgent. However, his father asks Shin-yoon to give him 50,000 and he agrees without hesitation. He notices his father acts the same way he used to when asking for money and thinks heredity is incredible. His teacher returns, saying there will be no class that afternoon. Shun-yuan asks the teacher if she is free to have dinner with him tonight as a way to repay her. However, behind the teacher, her younger sister, Li Meng, appears with an angry expression. This teacher's sister is Shun-yuan's nemesis, and he doesn't want to get involved with her. Shin-yuan remembers he has things to resolve at school and won't be able to do anything that night. At that moment, Shin-yuan leaves. Li Meng, the younger sister, knows the guy has ulterior motives. The teacher says it's just dinner. And even if Shin-yuan has other ideas, she won't accept anything. Shin-yuan feels a huge sense of satisfaction when he remembers his old life. He has special credit to buy a car, and not using it would be disrespectful to the system. So Shin-yuan texts Fong Min-hui asking if she's free to check out cars. Fong Min-hui's friend says that if the two of them are choosing a car together, it means their relationship progressed quickly. The friend starts hinting that Fong Min-hui won't be back at the dorm tonight, but Min-hui says they aren't even together yet. Her friend says Fong Min-hui is very lucky because Shin-yuan is handsome and rich. An hour later, Shin-yuan and Fong Min-hui are in front of the 4S dealership. The store attendant asks Shin-yuan if he has any specific car model in mind they want to look at. However, a man recognizes Min-hyu and asks what she's doing there. It's Chin-yong, the high school senior who tried to win Min-hyu over in the past. Chin-yong asks who the man with her is, and Shun-yuan introduces himself as Min-hyu's colleague. Chin-yong asks if Shin-yuan has any car model in mind, and Shun-yuan says he wants some information. Chin-yong says Shin-yuan can feel free to look at the models on display or come inside and sit down. Chin-yong knows the basic M9 version costs 500,000 and 600,000 with fees. He thinks Chin-yong came here with Min-hui just to act rich and probably doesn't have money to buy a car. Chin-yong also notices that Min-hui is still very beautiful, and it's no wonder he chased after her so much in the past. Now, Chin-yong is different because he earns 10,000 a month, making him one of the dealership's top salespeople. He thinks he's a great catch for any girl and asks if Min-hui is free to catch up. However, Fong Min-hui says she already has other plans for tonight and refuses. Meanwhile, Shin-yuan gets into a car and wants to schedule a test drive. Chin-yong gets annoyed because he thinks Shin-yuan interrupted his conversation with Min-hui and that he doesn't have money to buy the car. Chin-yong says the test drive car was taken by the boss and there isn't one available right now. Shin-yuan isn't new to this. He saw an M9 at the store entrance and knows a test drive can be done. He arrives at the reception and asks to be redirected to another salesperson because he wants a test drive. Sales consultant Chun-na appears and asks how she can help Shin-yuan. Shin-yuan feels intimidated by the sales consultant's presence. She's very beautiful. The boss asks Chin-yong why he let Chun-na take his client. Chin-yong is too lazy to waste time and wants Chin-na to waste her time with Shin-yuan. His boss says Chin-yong will regret it if Shin-yuan changes his mind and buys the car. Chin-yong thinks the protagonist is just showing off, bringing a pretty girl to fake wealth. Meanwhile, Chun-na starts explaining how the car works. However, Shin-yuan notices that besides being professional, Chun-na has a very beautiful face and body. He knows she can close a deal with any client just to hit her sales target. Chun-na realizes Shin-yuan already knows the specifications well and asks about his budget range. Shin-yuan doesn't even mention a budget range, stating he wants to take a car home today. Customers usually visit the dealership multiple times before deciding, but Shin-yuan did the test drive and didn't even ask the price. Chun-na wonders why Chin-yong abandoned the sale since Shin-yuan is actually willing to buy a car. Chun-na informs him that she doesn't have the model in stock at the store, but they can arrange the transfer in a week. Shin-yuan closes the purchase. Chun-na thinks he's an angel client because he bought a 600,000 car so easily. She asks Shin-yuan to rest a bit and says he can pay the 50,000 deposit while she prepares the contract. The boss asks Shin-na if the client is interested. She replies that Shin-yuan already bought it, leaving the boss in shock. The boss is still suspicious, imagining Shin Yuan is just faking it and will invent an excuse to disappear when it's time to pay. However, Chun Na informs him that Shin Yuan already paid and it was in cash, which is different from what usually happens. The boss states that Shin Yang was an idiot and the dealership suffered a huge loss. Chun Na approaches Shin Yuan and tells him he can call her for anything, offering him a ride. But Shin Yuan says he does not need one as he and Fong Minhui are taking a taxi. Chun Na realizes that while maintaining a good client relationship is important, she has annoyed Shin Yuan's girlfriend. So Chun Na stops insisting and Shin Yuan and Fong Minhui leave the dealership. Shin Yuan invites his girlfriend to eat but Fong Minhui barely responds. So Shin Yuan asks if Fong Minhua is angry or jealous, but she keeps saying no. Shin Yuan defends himself, saying he was just talking business with Chun Na, the dealership salesperson. Fong Minhua says Shin Yuan spent too much time talking to Chun Na and looked happy checking her Instagram. Shin Yuan explains it is his habit. Whenever he adds someone, he checks their Instagram stories. Fong Minhui wonders why she is so jealous if they are not serious yet. She knows other girls will approach Shin Yuan because of the money he spends. Fong Minhui concludes she must somehow trap Shin Yuan. Shin Yuan avoids the topic, says he will not do it again, and promises to give Fong Minhui a gift. Shin Yuan truly will not do it again because he is not naive. Fong Minhua does not want to accept the gift as Shin Yuan already bought her 2 bags the day before. Fong Minhua is excited but does not want Shin Yuan to spend so much on her, as she does not want to be seen as a gold digger. Shin Yuan thinks it is normal for a girl to have extra bags. After all, there are 7 days in a week and she will not repeat any. For Shin Yuan, spending money on girls gives triple cash back. The more he spends, the more he earns. Shin Yuan goes to the restaurant with Fong Minhui and asks if she wants a cold or hot drink. Fong Minhui thinks Shin Yuan is indirectly trying to find out if she is on her period and that he must want to make love. Fong Minhui replies she wants a cold drink and Shin Yuan does not understand why she has a strange expression. It has been 2 months since Shin Yuan was last with Zhou Wanting and he is very eager. Shin Yuan and Fong Minhua's relationship score increases to 81 points and she has several expensive items he bought for her. Shin Yuan is treating Fong Minhua too well and he just spent another 80,000 yuan on her. Meanwhile, Shin Yuan looks at his phone and notices he received 200,000, increasing his capital. The cashback system is incredible and Shin Yuan recovered the 50,000 yuan he paid as a car deposit. Even after settling other expenses, 1,600,000 yuan will still remain for Shin Yuan to spend. Shin Yuan tells Fong Minhui not to return to the dorm tonight and she agrees. Half an hour later, they are at the Grand Rich Hotel in room 808 and Shin Yuan is showering. Fong Minhui is questioned about why she did not return to the dorm and is embarrassed to say she is with Shin Yuan. Shin Yuan appears shirtless after his shower asking if Fong Minhui is ready. Fong Minhui apologizes to Ling Ling as she does not want to return to the dorm today. Then, Fong Minhui messages her roommate saying she will not sleep there tonight. Next, Fong Minhui tells Shin Yuan she has not showered yet and he likes her scent just as she is. Shin affirms he likes every detail about Min and the girl asks him to go slow. Then, they begin to have intimate relations throughout the night. Half an hour later, Min agrees it was good to be with Shin. Shin did not expect Minhui to be so good and the experience was exhausting for him. He feels out of shape as he got very tired after 2 months without intimacy. Min, however, wants to go one more time, but Shin prefers to rest a bit first. However, Min does not accept and says she wants to go again right at that moment. The next morning, when Shin returns to his dorm, he sees that the system offers a refund to clear debts and decides to get rid of his 2,000 yuan pending amount. Additionally, Shin owes Li Yuhang 100,000 yuan, an amount that accumulated when his family went bankrupt. His old friends only sought him out for their own gain, and Li Yuhang is the only one who helped him when he needed it most. His roommate asks where Shin spent the night since he did not return to the dorm. Then, the roommate informs him that there will be a class dinner and asks if Shin will attend. Shin says that Li Jinping bought a car and probably organized the dinner to show it off. He comments that if he goes, it will only be to watch his rival's ridiculous show. Li Jinping is full of himself when he wants to show off and Shin reconsiders if he will really watch his show. After all, Shin receives a message from Li Yuhang inviting him to dinner, drinks, and to relax. The limited time mission is that Shin is to receive 1 million to invest within a week. It is a business mission that arises at the right time as Shin doesn't want to leave the money idle in his account. He wants to invest in Li Yuhang's bar, which is under renovation. Shin asks Li Yuhang for the location and says he will show up there. They go to the Nanjing restaurant in a private lounge. There, Lin Guangyao asks if they are waiting for Li Xiao and says he is hungry. Jia Haiji asks if the big shots have arrived yet, and Zhao Jin says that important people are never late. Then Li Yuhang says there are fruits and snacks on the table, and that they are waiting for Shen Yuan. Those present ask if Shen isn't the man whose family went bankrupt and who should no longer be part of their social circle. Li Yuhang says he is paying for everything today and that the money is not Zi's, so he has no right to complain. Since Shen is a long-time friend, they must wait for him. Everyone gets annoyed at having to wait. The woman next to Lin complains that he doesn't want to be her boyfriend, but keeps trying to seduce her. The man in the suit says his girlfriend got stuck in traffic and will arrive in 10 minutes. Lin's cousin's family has always depended on his family, and if it weren't for them, they wouldn't even be at this meeting. He doesn't know what luck he has to get such an incredible girlfriend. She is a temptation in the office, one that no man would resist after all. She only wears short clothes. And since the cousin and she aren't even married, he wants to try to win the woman over. At that moment, Shen arrives in worn-out clothes and Li Yuhang asks why he arrived late. Shen says that the traffic is horrible and that the driver took the worst possible route. Lin Guangyao finds it ridiculous that Chun came by taxi since everyone else came by luxury car and therefore didn't get stuck in traffic. Everything changes when the man in the suit's girlfriend arrives, apologizing for the delay. The man in the suit introduces Chun, the car saleswoman, and is sure that he has the most beautiful girlfriend in the group. Chun notices that Shen Yuan is there, and that he is the man who bought the car at her dealership the day before. Seeing that Chun didn't even greet her, Chun decides to pretend that it is the first time they are meeting. 40 minutes pass during this meeting. Lu Hang wants to expand the bar he is opening, so he asks if anyone wants to invest in his project. The estimated value is 2 million, and he is offering up to 30% of the shares, which represents an investment of 700,000. He asks a little shyly what his friends think of the proposal. One of those present comments that Li Yuhang's family earns millions a year and that he wouldn't need investors for the project. Or perhaps Li Yuhang has failed in his investments and his father cut off his allowance. The man in the suit doesn't want to participate as he would need to save for 2 years to gather 700,000 yuan. The other man in the cap also didn't come there to invest and doesn't want to get involved in discussions. They know that in moments like these, whoever speaks up is considered a sucker. Li knows they exploit him for free food and drinks, but when he needs money, no one speaks up. Li asks if everyone went silent after eating and if someone could at least say something. The friends do not think they need investments. They suggest each person can contribute a little for Li to open his bar. They agree that becoming partners would not be fair to Li, and that way when he makes money, they lose nothing. They have seen disastrous investment histories like the restaurant that went bankrupt, and they think a bar would be throwing money away. If someone has money to lend, they will do it privately, and they would not need to be in this situation. Lai wanted to do business with his friends and profit, but for them, it would turn into debt and would not be good. Li underestimated his friends, and Lin quickly turns the topic into a loan request. Lin justifies himself, saying a loan is different, and if no one is interested, he will drop the subject. A friend thinks talking about investment and partnership makes no sense, and they should just keep having fun. Shun has already seen their true faces when his family went bankrupt, and Li should not put his hope in them. For Shun, they are all parasites who squander money because of their family's lies. Then Shin Yuan offers to invest the 700,000 won Li is asking for. Lin thinks Shin Yuan should not do this, as it is not the first time he tries to show off. The friends tell Shin Yuan to cool his head because Li Xiao has no patience for nonsense. Shahaijia says Shin Yuan should act according to his capabilities and know when to be quiet. They even offer Shin Yuan a round-trip taxi, mocking him for being poor. Chun Na finds the other's behavior strange since Shin Yuan bought a 600,000 won car yesterday. She finds it strange that the friends interfere in this 700,000 investment matter. Before Chun Na can act, Shin Yuan has already sent the money to Li Xiao's account. Li Xiao is in shock when he opens his phone and sees the money has actually been deposited. Li Xiao shows his phone to the other friends who are shocked by the transfer amount. Seeing the situation suddenly changed and that Shin Yuan really sent 700,000 yuan, one of the friends asks Li Xiao what the message says, and Li Xiao gets nervous and decides to go home. Shahaiji asks his cousin what is happening, and the cousin tells him to leave because his uncles are looking for him. Haiji does not understand as he has not received any message from his uncles. Haiji notices his cousin is clueless and it is not worth arguing. However, it bothers him that Shun Yuan has money and needs to put on a show to steal the knight's attention. The cousin in the cap questions why Li Xiao suddenly changed his attitude and sees the message. The cousin decides he also has things to sort out at home and leaves after seeing the bank account. Everyone else slowly leaves, embarrassed by what just happened. Li Xiao asks what is happening, why everyone is leaving, and Jia Heiji also leaves. Jia Heiji asks Chun now how she knows the money transfer is real. Chun Na reveals that Shin Yuan went to the dealership and bought a car with cash. Jia Heiji is shocked and thinks it is a lie, but Chun Na can prove it with the purchase contract. Jia Heiji does not criticize Chun Na for this, but since she knew Shin Yuan was rich, she could have told him right away. However, there will not be a next time because Chun Na breaks up with Jia Heiji, realizing what kind of person he is. If Li Yuhang knows Shin Yuan is so rich, he would not have even organized this gathering. This shows Li Xiao that those guys are worthless and untrustworthy. Li Xiao asks about Shin Yuan's idea for the bar and decides to participate in the planning, even if just a little. For the next 30 minutes, Shin Yuan discusses the bar's decoration style and operation with Li Yuhang. Lu Hang agrees that Shin Yuan did not waste his time in college and has a good business vision. Shin Yuan calls this commercial talent and says they should have a manager to supervise the place every day. An hour later, Shin Yuan messages Min, the woman from the dealership, asking if she is free. Min reads the message and finds it a bit strange. Shin Yuan wants to expand and maximize the refunds, and Min is the source of money for this. He invites her to a restaurant on the 4th floor of the mall, also because he finds her very beautiful. The next day, Min waits for Shin Yuan at the restaurant. She wonders if she arrived too early as Shin Yuan is not there yet. The manager appears and sees Min wearing her store uniform, wanting to use this opportunity to flirt. Manager Zhang tells the employees to find somewhere else to eat. After all, he has things to do. The employees wonder if Chun Na will give manager Zhang the time of day. They find it strange that Chun Na came to eat at the restaurant alone and that possibly she casually planned for Zhang to see her and sit with her. The employees find it strange and question who Chun Na would have arranged a casual meeting with. After this, boss Zhang approaches Chun Na asking if he can sit with her, but she rejects him. Zhang thinks Chun Na is playing hard to get when she says she is waiting for a friend, and he states he is her superior. Zhang insists they should eat together because of this, but Chun Na says he already has a family and should keep his distance. Zhang says it is easy to solve this and decides to ask his wife for a divorce. Meanwhile, Chun Na's ex, Haiji, thinks she rejected him for another man and gets furious. Seeing he lost to the chubby Zhang, Haiji boasts he earns 400,000 a year and owns a 300,000 car. Haiji storms into the restaurant crying, accusing Chenna and Zhang of having a secret affair behind his back. A furious Haiji claims he does not know who Zhang is. Chenna asks Haiji what he is doing. Haiji punches the manager in the face. Haiji and Zhang start fighting and hitting each other, while Shun Yuan watches the scene completely confused. Shun Yuan sees them fighting over an affair that never even happened, especially since Zhang did not deny anything. Shun Yuan takes Chun Na's hand and leads her away to a quieter spot. Chun Na explains she was with Haiji for only 2 weeks, and during dinner, she realized he has a bad character. Shin Yuan thinks it is better to discover someone's true nature sooner rather than later. Zhang, who was assaulted, is Chun Na's boss. She worries about how he will treat her at work now that he was beaten up. Shin Yuan believes such a boss does not deserve Chun Na's work and suggests she change jobs. Chun Na finds changing jobs difficult as she would have to regain years of clients and start over. Chun Na grew tired after years in sales and wants to switch fields, opening a small cafe. However, opening a cafe costs 300,000 upfront, and Chun Na does not know when she will get that amount. Shin Yuan tells Chun Na not to worry about the money because she will have an initial investment. Shin Yuan just secured 300,000 from exclusive investment funds. Laughing, Chun Na thinks it is a joke and says she would quit to work for such a person. Shin Yuan tells Chun Na to quit because he will invest in her cafe and she will work for him. Chun Na is shocked and her affinity points rise to 64. Shin Yuan worries about not gaining Chun Na's affection, but a new source of money just appears. Chun Na asks if Shin Yuan is serious, and he questions if she wants to work for him. Shin Yuan says that once the cafe is operational, he will pay 12,000 a month and provide a car if it succeeds within 3 months. With no sales pressure for 3 months, Chun-na would earn a car with an annual income of 300,000 yuan. Chun-na thinks Shin Yuan is planning to keep her close and trap her. Chun-na says it is not worth doing this for her, and even if the conditions are tempting, she does not want to be trapped. Shin Yuan tells Chun-na not to overthink it because he wants to open a chain of cafes, and this would be a pilot project. Hearing this, Chun-na needs more time to consider the decision. Meanwhile, Manhwa texts and asks if Shin Yuan is free tonight for a drink. Seeing Manhwa already wants to go out again for a drink, Shin Yuan notices she has quite a lot of energy. So Shin Yuan replies they can have a drink and take things slower. Shin Yuan says goodbye to Chun-na, claiming he has something to resolve now, and awaits her answer. Arriving at room 808, Shin Yuan is greeted with a hug, and Manhwa says she missed him. Manhwa smells another woman on Shin Yuan and gets annoyed. Shin Yuan realizes Chun-na's perfume clung to him because he got into her car. Highly irritated, Manhwa asks if Shin Yuan was with other women before seeing her. Shin Yuan says he only has eyes for Manhwa and is not with anyone else. Shin Yuan claims he went to the dealership to sort out paperwork and must have picked up another woman's perfume there. Manhwa believes him and says that next time, Shin Yuan can warn her and keep his distance from the saleswoman. Shin Yuan thinks the system's mission is to spend on women and earn refunds, and it is not worth getting tied down to just one. Manhwa says she will take a shower, but Shin Yuan does not allow it. Shin Yuan and Manhwa strip off their clothes and start their fiery games. They decide not to shower, preferring to keep their natural scents. Shin Yuan gets excited when Manhwa repeats a phrase he said earlier. In the middle of the act, Manhwa confesses she really likes Shin Yuan. 2 hours later, Manhwa says she wants more, but Shin Yuan decides to shower. He notices Manhwa has more energy than his ex, Joe, wanting, and it leaves him exhausted. Shin Yuan sees Manhwa's affinity level rise to 90 after their activities. The system announces that the host has a woman with an affinity level above 90, and the task is complete. Shin wins a lottery ticket worth 1 million and a consumption voucher for another million. This 1 million ticket is the perfect justification for his money and can pay off his family's debts. The skills Ruthless and Power merge, and Shin Yuan knows he will completely dominate in the future. He knows that from now on, he will unleash his power, and Manhwa will be under his control. Shin Yuan feels a giant wave of energy surge through his body. The rewards for reaching 90 affinity with a woman are incredible. It seems the system distributes rewards according to his needs. Reaching 90 affinity with the dealership woman would take time, unlike with Manhwa. Shin Yuan decides to take advantage and advance step by step. After all, her affinity is already past 60. He has no idea when another woman with affinity above 90 will appear or what rewards he will receive. The most important thing for Shin Yuan now is to test the power he gained from the system. He returns to Manhwa stating he changed his mind about showering and wants to test something. Manhwa notices the difference in him and it makes her very happy. Meanwhile, Chun-na tells her friend that the man offered her 300,000 to open the cafe and that after 3 months, he would give her a car. Her friend, Chen, thinks Chun-na fell for a scam. Chun-na thinks not because he actually bought a car cash from her. Chun asks how old he is because dealership buyers are usually old. Chun-na says he is only 21 and finds it strange that he is so young and already owns a luxury car. Spending 300,000 for her to open a shop and giving her a 200,000 car while being handsome, Chun-na's friend thinks he wants her. Even if he is 5 years younger than her, her friend encourages her greatly anyway. However, Chun-na says he has a girlfriend. Chun-na's friend thinks that even if he were married, it wouldn't matter, and she could easily take the girlfriend's place. However, Chun-na is shocked by what her friend says. Her friend says that if Chun-na is so indecisive, she could pass this millionaire to her and she would handle everything in her place. But the friend has a boyfriend and says that if she had a man to support her, she would become single instantly. At that moment, the friend's boyfriend arrives home and they stop talking. Chun-na becomes thoughtful about Shin Yuan and what to do now. 30 minutes later, Manhwa asks Shin Yuan why he is so different and stronger. In just over 40 minutes, they went twice and it impresses her. Then, Shin Yuan asks if Manhwa liked it and if she wants to go again. Manhwa is surprised and asks if he can still handle it. Shin Yuan wants her to take control. Manhwa states she doesn't know, and Shin Yuan says she can learn by doing. So they continue their heated games and a day passes. The next day, Manhwa returns to the university while Shin Yuan prefers to sleep in. As soon as he wakes up, Shun Yuan checks the lottery ticket the system gave him. He sees that the blue and red numbers are correct, totaling 6,800,000 yuan. Shin Yuan jumps out of bed knowing he won all that money and decides to tell his father. After all, they suffered for years with the family's bankruptcy, and he rushes to tell his parents. Arriving home, his mother asked him not to shout. Shin Yuan says he has something very important to tell his father. His father asked what is so important that it cannot wait and if Shin Yuan got into trouble. Shin Yuan asks his father to sit down and shows him they won 6 million and are rich. His mother asks if college pressure is affecting him that much. Shin's father tells him not to make things up, stating he will handle the family's debts himself. Shin then shows him the numbers and the lottery results up close on his phone. This leaves Shin's father stunned, and he starts shouting, realizing his son really won the lottery. His parents are absolutely shocked to see that Shin won $68 million when, even with taxes, over 5 million would still remain, enough to pay off debts and improve their lives. Shin's mother says her son's name will go down in family history, celebrating the big prize. Since he is already in his 3rd year and close to graduating, Shin decides he wants to open his own business. Shin's father says it is not easy to start a business, but he should explore opportunities. His father adds that Shin could manage alone with the money he won, but advises him to set aside a portion for safety. Shin replies that he will only take 1 million, and the rest is for his parents to use as they wish. His parents agree, stating they will always be by Shin's side. Elsewhere, the manager calls Chun Na into his office to show her what her ex-boyfriend did to his face. Chun Na explains that she broke up with him a long time ago and has nothing to do with the fight. If Zihai Jie is injured, it is his own fault. The manager insinuates that Chun Na is not being truthful as the man would not have been beaten without reason. Chun Na realizes the manager is trying to use the situation to win her over. She reiterates that she had nothing to do with the fight, explaining she was on a date with a friend when Zihai Jie insisted on showing up. Manager Zhang then suspends Chun Na from customer service for a month, claiming she left work and abandoned clients. Zhang says that once she reflects on what happened, she can return to the office. Chun Na argues that she asked for his permission before leaving. Zhang replies that he is the general manager of the store and calls all the shots. The customer service suspension means Chun Na will lose her commissions and have a very low salary. Annoyed, Chun Na calls the manager mediocre and says the job is horrible, announcing she wants to quit. Zhang advises her not to rush and to think carefully before making that decision. He mentions that even though Shen Yuan is young, he is different from others and acts very calmly. Zhang suggests that no matter what Shen Yuan wants to do, working with him would already be a better opportunity. Chun Na, however, turns her back and says she will not think much, quitting on the spot. An hour later, Chun Na sends a message to Shen Yuan. She says she is ready to leave the store and asks if Shen Yuan's promise from the previous day is still valid. Shen Yuan congratulates her for leaving the bad job and asks her to start looking for locations for the cafe. Now Shen Yuan wants to find another project for the 300,000 remaining from the investment mission. He decides to go find his teacher to talk with her. Teacher Lee apologizes, saying she needs to move some things in the office and asks for help carrying boxes. Shen Yuan says it is no problem as he has no class in the morning and is free at home. Lai explains that if it were just books, she could handle it, but the desk and cabinet are very heavy. She asks Shen Yuan to take the books off the cabinet so they do not fall when they start moving the furniture. The teacher tries to reach the books, and Shen Yuan goes behind her to help her reach the shelf. At this moment, they have a more inappropriate physical closeness which makes teacher Lee shy. Lee notices they are physically closer than in any previous situation. This makes her question if Shen Yuan feels something for her. After the task finishes, teacher Lee becomes very shy about what happened between them. Other students arrive to help and notice that Lee's face is very red. Shen Yuan tells the boys to move the filing cabinets to the other side. If the students hadn't arrived late, they would have seen the embarrassing scene. Lee notices that Shen Yuan is becoming bolder and bolder, first at her home and now in the office. However, this excites her, even though she knows it's wrong because he is her student. At that moment, Lee's feelings increase, and her affinity with Shen Yuan goes up to 71. Shen Yuan intends to visit her more often to increase this affinity and strengthen their relationship. On Saturday, near the college gate, two girls talk with John Peng about him buying a 200,000 car in cash. Jan Peng drives a BMW at the college and girls line up for him, with Fong being the only one who refused him. Jan Peng says that many people don't care about luxury cars, and the gold digger girls respond that those people are crazy. At this moment, Shun Yuan gets distracted seeing Chun Na with her exuberant beauty. He finds her curves very beautiful and would easily date this woman. Suddenly, they notice a luxury car parked, a Yao Yao leading M9 model. They realize that Shen Yuan is driving the car, which leaves them surprised. John Peng thinks Shen Yuan's family is bankrupt and wonders how he owns such an expensive car. John Peng gets even more irritated seeing Shen Yuan approaching Chun Na, the woman he is obsessed with. Chun Na says the cafe owner just sent a message and will arrive any moment. Shen Yuan comments to Chun Na that the car is good to drive. John Peng gets furious because Shen Yuan, who he thinks just ended a relationship, is already flirting with a girl. Lin Yuchang, the cafe owner, is late because she picked up her son from school and apologizes. Lin Yuchang shakes Shen Yuan's hand and comments that he is very young, just like everyone in their 20s. Lin Yuchang asks for 300,000 to sell the cafe, which has a good customer flow because it's near the college. Shen Yuan, who has the amount to invest, offers 250,000. Lin Yuchang asks for 270,000, but she considers that if she doesn't sell now, she might not find another interested party. Shen Yuan intends to pay in cash, close the contract that same day, and transfer the amount. He says that if they sign the contract, he will send the 250,000 immediately. Lin Yuchang asks the waitress to show the place to the new owner of the establishment, Shen Yuan. The waitress, Xiao Qiu, calls Shen Yuan boss and introduces herself to him. Shen Yuan explains that he needs to show the place to Chun Na, who will take care of everything, as he won't appear very often. The two college girls find it absurd that Shen Yuan closes a 250,000 deal in a few minutes. This makes John Peng, his college rival, even more irritated that Shen Yuan has so much money and a beautiful woman by his side. Suddenly, Lin Yuqing, the former cafe owner, receives a call and stands up to answer it. Chun Na thinks that Lin Yuqing is the wife of Zhang, the man who fought with her ex-boyfriend at the restaurant. Zhang has a beautiful wife, yet he uses his position to harass female employees. Chun Na has records of conversations with boss Zhang's threats and thinks about exposing him to get her salary. She considers telling Zhang's wife as she is a good person, and Chun Na fears Zhang might hurt her. However, Shen Yuan does not find this action appropriate because the records will become public and Zhang will know who exposed him. A 40-year-old man, unemployed and with a family to support, could do something terrible because of it. Shen Yuan promises to take down Zhang in a way that does not affect Chen Na. Shen Yuan transfers the money to Lin Yuqing. Additionally, he transfers 50,000 to Chen Na with 24,000 allocated for her salary for the first 2 months. Shen Yuan uses 1 million from the exclusive investment funds and completes the task. His investor level rises, and he receives 10 million in investment funds to expand his business. The reward is a tripled income, and the second reward is a mysterious business branch. Now Shen Yuan has a lot of money to invest and a mysterious business that will emerge at some point. Lin Yuqing receives the payment and says it was a pleasure working with them both, hoping to see them again. Shen Yuan feels Lin Yuqing's soft touch and charm, a married woman. At this moment, Shen Yuan already starts having some improper thoughts about her, saying they will definitely see each other again. An hour later, Shen Yuan takes Chun Na to a restaurant. Chun Na says the restaurant is expensive and asks if Shen Yuan frequents the place often. Shen Yuan replies that he does not come here often, but it is a special day to celebrate their partnership. Shen Yuan looks closely at Chun Na and realizes she is irresistible, and any man would feel the same. Then Shen Yuan asks Chun Na to sit beside him at the restaurant and pulls her closer. Chun Na says he spent 300,000 on the cafe and every month needs to pay 12,000 in salaries, so he wants to recover his investment. He continues saying there is no love or effort without reason. After all, profiting from a cafe and paying the bills is difficult. Shen Yuan states that all he has to offer is this. Chun Na complains when he touches her because the waiter is nearby. Shen Yuan assures her that the waiters do not serve that quickly. 10 minutes later, he has already finished his game. A waiter announces that Shen Yuan's dishes are being prepared and he stops what he is doing. Shen Yuan tells Chun Na to try some sushi, which is the house specialty. Chun Na finds him handsome and cool, but his only flaw is being a scoundrel as he dates and cheats on his girlfriend. There is no point thinking about it as Chun Na has now embarked on a point of no return. 40 minutes later, their dinner ends and the bill exceeds 2,000 yuan. The system reimburses triple and Chun ends up profiting 5,300 yuan, easy money. A meal equivalent to the commission from selling a car, spending 2,000 yuan is like spending 20 for Shun. Chun Na wants to return to the cafe to talk with the waitress, understand the environment, and familiarize herself. Chun thinks this will bother Chow. After all, the place closes at 9, and it is already 8:30. Chun Na timidly asks Shin to take her home. She delivers the report to Shin the next day after work. Shin asks to go up to Chun Na's place for water, but she doesn't think it's appropriate. After all, what happened at the restaurant is already Chun Na's limit, and it's still too early. To dodge the situation, Shin asks if there's another man at Chun Na's place. She replies that it's impossible because she broke up with her ex, Z, today. Shin says he'll only go up for water and stay if Chun Na wants him to. However, Chun Na doesn't seem to want Shin to stay and wishes he would leave after getting the water. But as soon as Shin goes up to Chun Na's place, he immediately starts his naughty business. Shin says the water he's going to get isn't what Chun Na was thinking of. Downstairs, a man wants to get Chun Na's forgiveness, even if it's just to be friends. Z thinks Chun Na isn't home and decides to leave flowers at the door, so she knows he sent them. Z hears strange sounds coming from the apartment and thinks Chun Na is with Zhang, her boss. He starts banging on the door angrily, telling Zhang Xian to get out of Chun Na's place. Chun Na recognizes the idiot's voice and wonders why Z is there since she's the one who broke up with him. Chun Na says she hears something banging on the door, but Shin claims it's next door. Shin quickly takes Chun Na to the bedroom, so she doesn't hear the banging on the door. Meanwhile, Chun Na says she isn't ready yet and prefers Shin to go slower. She, Chun Na's ex, thinks he has no more chances and gives up on winning her back, dropping the flowers on the ground. An hour later, they finish, and Chun Na says she is very tired. To solve this, Shun lays her down on the bed so she won't tire out as quickly. Shun's energy is infinite thanks to the system's ability, and he just can't stop. Not only is Chun Na not extroverted, but she is also very reserved, and this makes Shun even more attracted to her. The next day, Shun smells toast and fried eggs coming from the kitchen. Chun Na is making the eggs and toast, and Shin notices her thoughtfulness, a stark contrast to Min Hui. A mission appears. Buy a property for Chun Na within the next 24 hours. The system's first reward is a double cashback on the property's value. Next, a mysterious property is granted after the purchase. This means the mission reward stacks with the cashback bonuses. The system just materialized Shin's idea of turning the house into a home for them both. This mysterious property could be a mansion, and Shin believes the surprise factor will skyrocket along with his income. The coffee is ready in 2 minutes, and Shun wants to claim his reward if Chun Na's affection score passes 90. Shun says it's still morning, and they can do more things just like last night. He hints that later, they'll each make their own coffee and have more fun. But then Shin surprises Chun Na, announcing he's going out to buy her a house as a gift. Chun Na finds it unbelievable. Shin already gave her 300,000 for her cafe, and now he wants to give her a house. On top of that, Chun Na feels like she has nothing left to offer Shin. Seeing Chun Na in silence, Shin asks why, and she says it was all too sudden. When Chun Na complains that it's a lot of money and doesn't grow on trees, for Shin it practically does. Shin has 3.5 million on his card and gets reimbursed 5 times over if he buys the house. Gaining a 17 million capital, Shun wants to give Chun Na a huge house. Shin says they made a lot of noise and need a house with soundproofing because of the neighbors. The woman says it wasn't her fault and Shin Yuan admits he made a lot of noise. Chun Na reveals that 2 of her friends want to check out the cafe in the morning. Shin Yuan thinks it will take time to buy the house and 1 afternoon won't be enough, so Chun Na tells her friends that an unexpected issue came up and they can meet at night instead. Chun tells Meng Lu that an unexpected issue came up and she can't go. Meng Lu is an in-demand personal trainer and a personal friend of Chun Na. Chun thinks the cafe story fell through and was over the top. After all, a man wouldn't just hand over 300,000 that easily. Meng Lu thinks her friend wouldn't make that up and asks her to ask what happened. Meng Lu wants to meet the rich, young, and handsome man because she's never found one for herself. Chun is stunned because the reason Chun Na isn't going is that her boyfriend is going to buy her a house. Buying a house is a huge responsibility, and Shin Yuan is spending almost 1 million on Chun Na without really knowing her. Meng Lu wants to meet Chun Yuan because this type of man usually has more than one woman. Meng Lu wants to go to the real estate agency to help them choose the house and flirt with Shen Yuan. Chun Chen thinks it's better they share this opportunity instead of letting just one of them take advantage. So Chun Chen asks for the address, and 40 minutes later, they arrive at the Songhu real estate agency. The smallest apartment in this place costs over 1 million, and Shen Yuan is going to spend that on a mistress. As soon as Chun Chen arrives, she's happy to see her friend Meng Lu after a long time. They missed each other, and Meng Lu asks Chun Na to introduce her handsome boyfriend. Chun Na introduces Shen Yuan to Meng Lu, the personal trainer, and to Chun Chen, the Ferrari salesperson. Meng Lu says Shen Yuan is thin, but if he joins the gym, he would get an incredible physique. Chun Chen gets jealous that Shen Yuan is young, handsome, and supporting Chun Na. Then Shen Yuan flirts and says he couldn't train at Meng Lu's gym because he would lose focus. Seeing Shen Yuan flirting back in front of Chun Na, Meng Lu imagines they might not even be a real couple. Meng Lu notices Chun Na's knees are swollen. And because he was pleased, Shen Yuan is reciprocating by buying the house for her. Qian Qian tells Shen Yuan to check out the Ferrari she sells whenever he wants to change cars. It's notable that Meng Lu and Chen Chen already have an affection level above 60 in less than 5 minutes, but Shen Yuan benefits from this. The more women with 60 affinity, the more money he earns. The real estate owner notices that besides buying a millionaire house, Shen Yuan is also with 3 beautiful women. The agent says she only has houses available that cost 15,000 per square meter. Shen Yuan reveals his budget is 3 million and he wants to see houses in that price range. They go to the negotiation room to make a professional recommendation to Shen Yuan. Meng Lu is shocked by the level of magnate Shen Yuan is, spending 3 million without a second thought. For Meng Lu, a sponsor and sugar daddy at this level cannot escape. The agent recommends an apartment that would cost 2,900,000 and fits what Shen Yuan wants. His supposed girlfriend, Chun Na, says that's a lot of money and she feels bad. However, Shen Yuan says he won't skimp on a big house for them to live well. The friends see that Shen Yuan is a loyal and ideal sponsor who doesn't save and wants to give the best of the best. Shen Yuan doesn't want to be taken for a fool and asks the agent to really push for a discount. The agent says that if Shen Yuan closes the deal today, she can guarantee good discounts immediately. Instead of a discount, Shen Yuan wants 2 more parking spaces. Meng Lu decides to win Shen Yuan over and keeps flirting. Shen Yuan notices this and, looking carefully, finds her impressive and stunning. If something were to happen between them, Shen Yuan thinks the feeling would be indescribable. However, Shen Yuan cannot get distracted now that it's time to close the house deal. Half an hour later, the discounts are applied and the house goes for $298 million yuan. The friends are shocked that Shen Yuan buys the house for Chun Na with such ease and puts it in her name. A deposit is made into Shen Yuan's bank account and he ends up with 15 million yuan. Not even at his father's peak do Shen Yuan and his family have so much money, and this is due to the system. Besides Chun Na, who makes him a multimillionaire overnight because of the mission reward is given and Shen Yuan gains a mansion on Qingzhou Lake. This is one of the 10 super mansions in Star City. The real estate agent realizes Shen Yuan isn't really dating Nana. She secretly wishes for a man like him in her life, someone who pays for a house up front. She suggests they exchange messages to sort out the contract details. Shen Yuan adds her and Meng Lu gets furious, thinking the real estate agent is trying to steal what's hers. Meng Lu then tells Shen Yuan she'll need his tips to buy her apartment soon. She also comments that one day she can train with Nana whenever she wants. Shen Yuan tells Nana he has matters to resolve and doesn't want to bother, the 3 of them suggesting they have lunch together. Meng Lu thinks it's a waste for Shen Yuan not to stay and eat and then enjoy what she has to offer. Nana calls them to lunch and then to the cafe, and her friends want her to pay the bill. Half an hour later, Shen Yuan returns to the college cafeteria. He notices his teacher, Li Xiao, is alone eating at night. Li Xiao is on a call talking about college matters and saying she won't be free the next night. She informs her secretary that she really has another commitment. Li Xiao explains to Shen Yuan that the college wants to create a startup incubator for students. She explains that the project involves giving funds to students, supporting their projects, and encouraging them to become entrepreneurs. Shen Yuan asks what advantages the college offers these companies. Li Xiao says the college closes contracts and sends qualified graduates to companies every year. However, companies don't see the benefits and don't invest because there are better elite colleges. Li Xiao is just a teacher, and her secretary wishes she would flirt with the company directors. Shin Yuan wants to help the teacher with 10 million, but he wants to know if the investment will be profitable. The return rate of the startups needs to be good for Shin Yuan to invest in this project and help Li Xiao, who is struggling. Shin Yuan tells Li Xiao he has some interest in investing in the project. Li Xiao agrees it's good to have that vision, but since the project hasn't launched yet, it would be difficult right now. At this moment, a new mission appears for Shin Yuan. To influence more areas of society, including the college, he must earn prestige points by investing in university projects. His reward will be a lottery draw for every 500 prestige points accumulated. These points represent his reputation and the respect people have for him. The startup incubator is perfect to help teacher Li Xiao and at the same time earn prestige points. Shin Yuan spots a perfect opportunity to invest however he wants. He wants to invest in the businesses of his younger and older female classmates at the university. This will boost his prestige and affinity, plus make him a lot of money. Shin Yuan asks Li Xiao if, should someone or a company invest, the professors or the students themselves would do the evaluation. Li Xiao replies that the university evaluates the students, but they haven't found any investors yet. Then Shin Yuan proposes to invest as long as he can choose the students who receive the funding. He shows his bank account to Li Xiao, who had doubted his money. After all, Shin Yuan's family had gone bankrupt. Li Xiao is shocked by the 15 million balance and asks how he has so much money. Shin Yuan replies that before his family's bankruptcy, he invested in cryptocurrencies and made money on his own. Teacher Li Xiao is surprised because Shin Yuan is a multimillionaire student. Shin Yuan suddenly arrives and tells Li Xiao to come with him. He guarantees that in the future, they will live a luxurious life full of travel. Li Xiao tells him to think carefully about the project because university incubators rarely make money. Shin Yuan is aware, however, he wants to give back to the growth of the university, which was important to him. Teacher Li Xiao sees that Shin Yuan is serious and wonders if he did the same when he called her to go with him. However, because he is her student, Li Xiao feels ashamed of herself for having considered being with him. Shin Yuan tells Li Xiao to think carefully about the luxurious life they could have. In the afternoon, Nana sends a message and a photo of the coffee shop to Shin Yuan. Nana tells Shin Yuan to try the coffee she made, and Shin Yuan replies that he immediately noticed it's bad, and he will teach her how to make it. Some people told Xiaoyi that Shin Yuan had gone bankrupt and was no longer rich, so she shouldn't keep thinking about him. Xiaoyi is Shin Yuan's classmate in international trade. The girls laugh at Shin Yuan, thinking he works part-time to pay for college. One of the girls boasts about having her dinners paid for by a rich man, claiming that dating Shin is a loss. They start to speak more quietly when Shin approaches. The girls think he is going to work part-time at a restaurant because of the time. They decide to follow him to see where he works. One of them asks if Shin had disappeared because of a formal job, and they suggest going there to support him. Shin decides to play a trick on them and says he works at a coffee shop, inviting them to check out the place. The three girls Shun brought are shocked by Meng Lu and Chun Na's beauty. As soon as they arrive, Meng Lu and Chun Na confront Shun about his commitment, and they notice the three girls he brought. Shin explains that the three girls just got off work and want some coffee. He asks Xiao Qiao to serve the girls and put the order on Shin's tab. The waitress serves the girls, telling them they can sit down and place their orders. The girls realize Shin Yuan owns the coffee shop because Xiao calls him boss. But suddenly, the three girls decide to ditch the coffee and leave. The three girls feel tricked by Shin Yuan, who owns the coffee shop and is surrounded by women. Meng Lu asks why they left, and Shun says they were intimidated by his beauty. Meng Lu tells Shin to get serious and stop being so cheeky. Shin flirts with the waitress who made him a sweet coffee. Meng Lu finds Shin's pickup lines super cheesy and old-fashioned, but it sounds different when a rich handsome guy says them. Meng Lu calculates Shun's body mass index, noting he's 180 mm tall and weighs 72 kilos. Shin says he lost weight because he's been doing a lot of physical activity lately. Meng Lu understands what Shin means and finds it shocking he says it in front of everyone. Meng Lu says Shin needs a few more kilos of muscle mass. Basically, Meng Lu is trying to convince him to join her gym to hit her sales target. Meng Lu says she needs to leave because it's already past 4 in the afternoon and she has class. Shun is tempted by the personal trainer and plans to win her over soon. Next, Shun tells Nana to go up to the second floor because they need to train. Shun says she'll find out once they get there and that these are skills that need extra practice. However, Nana says not in this place and at this moment because there are people around. but that only makes Shin even more eager to go for it with her. The two start kissing and the waitress Xiaoqiu watches everything embarrassed. At this moment, Xiaoqiu closes the establishment's door when she hears strange sounds coming from the second floor. But Meng Lu appears asking Xiaoqiu to open the door because she forgot her bag inside. Meng Lu tells Xiaoqiu to open it now and stop stalling. As soon as Xiaoqiu opens it and Meng Lu enters, she hears moans and vulgar sounds. 10 minutes pass and Meng Lu is shocked they're doing that in broad daylight. Meng Lu finds it strange because Shin Yan looks thin, yet he has so much strength and vigor. Meng Lu finds him interesting and purposely shouts to Xiaoqiu that she's leaving. Nana knows her friend Meng Lu definitely walked in on that scene. Shin thinks scenes like this need an audience, and he figures Lu heard everything from downstairs. Teacher Li's secretary Lu questions if student Shin Yuan really wants to invest in the incubator. He asks if Shin has the funds for it and if Teacher Li checked his assets. Teacher Li says she didn't believe it at first, but Shin actually has 10 million available. In shock, Secretary Lu asks if the money belongs to Shin or his family. Teacher Li says the money is under Shin's control and he can use it freely. Then Secretary Lu tells Shin Yuan to come to his office personally to hear the proposal. Teacher Li asks Secretary Lu to treat Shin with more respect, because even if he's a student, he'll become an investor. Secretary Lu wants to put him in his place and insists they call Shin to the office now. In the middle of the act with Nana, Shin answers Teacher Li's call. Hearing the situation, Shin understands everything she says. Shin Yuan knows the school's stance isn't right and that they want to control him until he gives in. Over the phone, Shin Yuan tells the secretary he's busy and will schedule the meeting for another day. Just as the secretary is about to yell, Shin Yuan hangs up on the man. The secretary rages because Shin Yuan hangs up on him and disrespects him. But the project is urgent and has been stalled for a long time, and Secretary Kong faces the heat for it. The secretary asks Teacher Li to invite Shin Yuan to dinner since he has the money to invest. Considering it a good idea, Teacher Li sends a message to Shin Yuan. Shin Yuan realizes the negotiation is in his favor when he hears about the dinner and wants to secure total control. At that moment, Nana says that if Shin Yuan is busy, they can schedule the dinner for another time. Shin Yuan finds Nana an incredible woman because she takes care of him in an extraordinary way. Then Shin Yuan receives a call from Huimin who asks if he wants to go for a walk. Shin Yuan thinks it is an invitation for something more interesting than just a walk. However, Huimin is on her period and Shin Yuan understands that this is why she has not appeared lately. Huimin says that if Shin Yuan really wants to, it is not impossible to do those things either. Immediately, Shin Yuan stands up and says that Huimin's health comes first and that he will pick her up at the dorm. He tells Huimin to take care and that there is no rush because the important thing is that she is well. Huimin hugs and kisses him saying that he is very cute and caring. At that moment, Huimin's affinity goes up to 91 and Shin Yuan asks what they are. Huimin wants to know if they will have an official title. After all, they do everything a couple does. Shin Yuan sees this as a dangerous question and notices that Huimin likes him a lot and is in love. Then, Shin Yuan affirms that they are boyfriend and girlfriend, and Huimin becomes extremely happy. Next, Huimin asks if she is his only girlfriend, and Shin Yuan says obviously yes. Shin Yuan says that the others are not girlfriends. They are just his cute lovers. Huimin decides to give Shin Yuan a gift since he is being very good to her. Shin Yuan says he will give Huimin a gift and asks if she wants a house or a car. Huimin says that is too expensive and that a perfume and a bag would already be great. Then Shin Yuan says that Huimin does not need to save money and that since she is in college, a house would be more important. Huimin says she will follow whatever Shin Yuan decides, and Shin Yuan takes her to the dorm because it is already late. The next day, Shin Yuan goes to Qingzhou Lake to pick up the keys to the house he wanted to give to Huimin. The next day, Meng Lu calls Shin Yuan for a workout and he thinks the video call is inappropriate. Meng Lu claims men only think about nonsense and that she had no ulterior motives. Meng Lu wants to see how much Shin Yuan can take because she notices from his tone of voice that he does not treat her like a stranger. At this moment, student Zhou arrives to train with personal trainer Lu Meng Lu. Zhou asks what made Lu Meng Lu so happy this morning, and Lu Meng Lu says she is just talking to a friend. Zhou asks Lu Meng Lu to tell her, after all, there is enough time before class. Lu Meng Lu reveals it is a sugar daddy who bought a 3 million house for her friend. Zhou is shocked because he must be a millionaire and both feel intense envy. Zhou thinks that with all that money he must be an ugly old man, but it would be worth it because her boyfriend is stingy. Lu Menglu says Shen Yuan is in his 20s and is even younger than her friend. And contrary to what Zhou thinks, Shen Yuan is handsome and tall. Zhou thinks Lu Menglu's friend is too beautiful to have snagged a man like that. However, Lu Menglu says she and her friend have similar bodies and different strengths. At this moment, Shen Yuan and Lu Menglu talk about him going to the lake to pick up the house keys, and Lu Menglu offers to go along. Lu Menglu says Shen Yuan can pick her up at the gym, and they will go to the lake together. Cho notices Lu Menglu is more excited than before, and Lu Menglu cancels the class and will refund her double. Lu Menglu explains that Shen Yuan is going to pick up the new house keys and invited her to go with him. Zhou Wanting knows that Qingzhou Lake is one of the 10 most famous luxury neighborhoods. Zhou Wanting finds it strange that Lu Menglu is going to pick up the house key with Shen Yuan, considering he is with her friend. Zhou Wanting understands that Lu Menglu is a bad person and will steal her best friend's man, and that she herself would do the same. The gym instructor Han Lihai asks Lu Menglu if she's leaving already because the class is starting soon. Zhou Wanting ignores the instructor even though he's strong and handsome. About 10 minutes later, Shen Yuan arrives in his M9 car to pick up Lu Menglu. Han Lihai comments that Shen Yuan bought a $3 million house for his girlfriend without hesitation. The instructor is shocked, imagining how many years it would take him to save $3 million. However, as she looks closely at the man in the car, Zhou Wanting notices he looks familiar. She's shocked to realize he's Shen Yuan, her ex-boyfriend. Zhou Wanting finds it strange that the rich handsome guy Lu Menglu mentioned turns out to be her ex. She can't believe Shen Yuan became a millionaire out of nowhere just 2 weeks after their breakup. Zhou Wanting realizes she really traded a chance with Shen Yuan for Bao Jun. Bao Jun, in turn, sends Zhou Wanting a message saying he's discovered something. Zhou Wanting gets annoyed because Bao Jun gets straight to the point and treats her like she's easy. Bao Jun told Zhou Wanting to come to his place tonight and she told him to screw off. Bao Jun doesn't understand why Zhou Wanting started treating him that way. Out of nowhere, Zhou Wanting blocked him, and Bao Jun doesn't understand what's happening. Zhou Wanting wonders if she still has a chance with Shen Yuan. After all, she trained him a lot and spent sleepless nights with him. She questions if it would be too much to try and get back with Shen Yuan, thinking about the implications for Coach Lu, the university girls, and her best friend. Lu Menglu comments that the car is huge and they could camp in the middle of nowhere with it. An off-road camping trip with a woman like her would get any man excited. Shen Yuan says camping sounds interesting and they can do it next time. Lu Menglu comments that Shen Yuan doesn't follow normal rules. Then changing his mind, Shen Yuan says they can do it now. Shen Yuan drops a cheesy pickup line and asks if he can join Lu Menglu's basketball game. Lu Menglu laughs saying Shen Yuan really likes to tease her. 30 minutes later, Shen Yuan arrives at the location to finalize the house contract. The real estate agent, Guan Shufeng, asks Shen Yuan if he wants to see the house or review the contract. Shen Yuan replies that it's just to finalize the contract and he'll see the house later. After signing the contract, Agent Guan Shufeng gets into the car and notices that Shen Yuan and Lu Menglu are not a couple. However, Lu Menglu has a body that makes any woman envious. Guan Shufeng finds it unfair. After all, women like Lu Menglu don't need talent because their looks already drive men wild. Guan Shufeng feels sad, thinking that an ordinary girl like her wouldn't stand a chance with a man like him. Arriving at the location, Lu Menglu finds the house incredible. Lu Menglu thinks the life of the rich is a dream and wants to live there, making sure Shen Yuan stays with her for that. The mansion is 2,000 square meters and empty, ready to be furnished and decorated however Shen Yuan wants. The system congratulates Shen Yuan on acquiring his first house. The system informs him that the house needs decoration and that Shen Yuan will have 20 million in exclusive funds for the renovation. Shen Yuan finds it absurd that the system gives him 20 million to renovate a house worth just over 10 million. However, since the system said so, Shen Yuan has no choice but to obey the order. Shen Yuan asks Guan Shufeng if she knows any good renovation companies. Guan Shufeng says there are several high-end companies in Star City and she will send Shen Yuan the contacts. Seeing the house is empty and there isn't much to see, Shen Yuan finds this sufficient. Lu Menglu wants to record a video and post it on social media, but Shen Yuan asks her not to show his face. Lu Menglu bets other influencers will edit photos and post them pretending to be Shen Yuan. Lu Menglu says she has over 50,000 followers on Quick Sound. Shin Yuan asks if Lu Menglu has many local fans, and she replies that most are from the region. Lu Menglu says 50,000 people have already seen her videos, so it won't make a difference if Shin Yuan sees them too. However, Lu Menglu says they saw the normal version, and Shin Yuan can see the exclusive edit. Shin Yuan asks Lu Menglu to send him her quick sound profile, so he can do a professional review. Lu Menglu is impressed that Shin Yuan has a review channel, and says she will send him the profile right away. Shin Yuan asks if they are going back to the gym now, and Lu Menglu asks if there's another place. Shin Yuan says he wants to play basketball with Lu Menglu, and she claims all men are the same. Lu thinks Shin Yuan slept with her friend yesterday, and now wants to act all smug. At that moment, Shin Yuan brakes the car sharply, startling Lu. Shin Yuan states he hasn't done anything with Lu yet, and she has no right to question him about what he did yesterday. Shin Yuan says that since Lu cares so much, she can take her friend's place. Lu, in turn, tells Shin Yuan to dream on. Lu wants to play hard to get, so Shin Yuan has to win her over and invest more. She is holding Shin Yuan back to drive him crazy, believing that after a long time when he wins her over, he will value her more. Then Shin Yuan drops Lu off at the gym, and she invites him to train sometime. Shin Yuan says goodbye to Lu, the coach, and also invites her to play basketball sometime. Huang, the gym manager, appears and says Lu violated the contract by canceling a morning class. Huang argues that he warned Zhou and will reimburse Lu double for the private class. Huang says Zhou filed a formal complaint and has already resolved the situation for Lu. Lu wonders why Zhou wanted to harm her like this for no apparent reason. Lu knows Huang won't win her over by scolding her and then being gentle like this. Huang invites Lu to have lunch together as there are no classes at this time. However, Lu turns Huang down saying she brought food and doesn't want anything that exposes her too much. As a coach both inside and outside the gym, Lu isn't surprised by a man like Huang because she's the boss. Lu also considers herself a woman destined for a life of luxury, and Huang won't get in the way of that. The advisor asks why Shin Yuan went straight into the entrepreneurship base. Kong asks if the advisor spoke with the professor, and the advisor says he asked her to send the documents. Kong wants to understand who Shin Yuan really is, and the advisor offers to speak with Shin Yuan to avoid problems. Secretary Kong wants to act cautiously so as not to alert Shin Yuan about this. Kong decides to hold a preliminary meeting with Shin Yuan and the professor that afternoon. It's clear the matter is very serious. After all, Secretary Kong will personally attend this meeting. In the dorm, Shin Yuan's friend asks how to win over a girl he's interested in. Shin Yuan notices his friend is stubborn after all. The girl refused 3 invitations he made to her. The friend, however, thinks it's progress after all. Before she ignored him, and now she replies to his messages. Shin Yuan is happy to see his friend happy and suggests he ask Lao Tao for help. The friend calls Lao Tao a virgin and claims Shin Yuan is the most experienced among them, able to help him more. Shin Yuan states that the girl must like his friend because she replies to him and agreed to go out with him. When Shin Yuan agrees with him, the friend is very happy with the approval. Suddenly, Secretary Kong, Secretary Lu, and the counselor appear at the dorm door. Shin Yuan lets them into the room after they say they want to see him. They think Shin Yuan is in serious trouble. They came to investigate because Shin Yuan's family went bankrupt, but he is buying many things. The visitors think Shin Yuan's money is dirty because it makes no sense where he is getting so much money. Shin Yuan's roommates think it's normal for the big shots to come to the university because they are sure the police will also come. Shin Yuan's roommates think Zhang Peng is talking nonsense about him. The teacher says these are student committee secretaries who want to speak with Shin Yuan. Shin Yuan greets Kong from the committee who asks if he can have dinner with them tonight. Kong says he will book the restaurant and they can go together, calmly discussing business. So Kong and the others leave with Shin Yuan for the restaurant. The students think the 3 didn't come to investigate Shin Yuan, but rather to protect his image. The students decide to pretend Shin Yuan is a secret agent undercover, and inviting him to dinner is something no one expected. The students are in shock when the 2 secretaries invite Shin Yuan to dinner and find him powerful. Li Jianping knows Shin Yuan must have done something big if even the school bigwigs are bowing to him. The fact that Shin Yuan is so powerful and stealing all the attention bothers Li Jianping. At the restaurant, the directors want to know everything Shin Yuan is planning and ask him to be direct. Shin Yuan says that to invest, his conditions must be accepted to avoid losses for the directors. Shin Yuan demands total autonomy, deciding who receives investment and how much without the school interfering. However, the directors say that's not how things work as it involves the Ministry of Education. Furthermore, the school wants to control the students' success rate. And without money, that's just theory. If students can make money, that changes everything. And since Shun is investing, he wants to see a return. Our hero is being very direct because the system wants him to create new businesses and make a name for himself. In the future, Shun will need a team of professionals to handle everything and wants to train his own staff. The most important part of the missions is that they require many women, and high-class ones are difficult to deal with. But the girls at his school are the best in Star City, and Shun wants to start gathering them now. The secretary will give an answer after speaking with the Ministry of Education staff. After many toasts and wines, dinner ends in the early morning. Since Shun Yuan drank, the others go ahead while the teacher takes him home. The teacher says her car is too spacious and prepares to drive the M9. Shun says he's tired of sedans and wanted to try an SUV this time. Suddenly, teacher receives a call from Li Meng who can't switch shifts because she's helping with a move. Li Meng hired a moving service, and things will sort themselves out gradually. The teacher is moving in a few days because her apartment contract ended, and she's sharing with her sister. Shun offers to help with the move, but the teacher says she just bought a car, and it wouldn't be good for him to carry boxes. Shun says the car is for carrying things, and the best part is it will impress the students. The teacher has a lot to buy and doesn't want to bother him. After much insistence, the teacher accepts her students' help with the move. The teacher notices Shun has striking features, and besides being her student, he is very handsome. She also notices Shun likes her, considering the previous context and the help he just offered. The bag Shun said was a fancy replica, however, considering his money must be original. The teacher picks up the bag Shun said was fake at the time, and later realizes it's original. And since he's a student with money who gives a gift to a teacher he likes, Shun interrupts her and says, giving a bag as a gift to the teacher he respects is no big deal. As the teacher already thought, this isn't right because she is older and Shun's teacher. Before the teacher can say anything else, Shun asks her to drive, and Shun won't give up even if the teacher says she can't accept the gift. Shun says he's going back to the dorm as there's no space at her place, and the teacher parks the car. The teacher says she'll leave the car there, and the next morning, Shun will come by to pick up the key. After this dialogue, Shun gives the teacher a sensual thank you kiss on the cheek. The teacher thinks Shun is getting bolder every day. First was dinner, then in the office. Now this kiss makes her very shy, and she says Shun is a terrible student. Nana asks Shun to open the cafe door for Lin Yuchong, who got stuck outside. Shun opens the door since the waitresses are too far away. Lin thanks Shun and explains that one of her children forgot a toy inside. Shun opens the cafe so the woman can retrieve it. Lin Yuchong starts searching for the scattered toys, bending over in a way that immediately catches Shun's attention. Telling her to take her time, Shun asks how old her son is. The woman replies that he is 3 and full of energy. Noticing a bottle of wine nearby, Shun guesses Yuchong was drinking alone in the cafe. When Lin Yuchong gathers everything, Shun asks if she felt bad about taking the wine. She replies that she feels nostalgic as that bottle kept her company through many lonely nights. Shun figures all this sadness and the memories are due to Zhang. Shun tells her that whenever she wants to return to look around, she is welcome. However, Lin Yuchong claims she intends never to set foot in this place again. Hearing this, Shun offers the unhappy woman a drink. Lin Yuchong asks if that would be strange, but Shun sees nothing wrong with it. Pouring wine into her glass, Shun mentions he noticed her sorrow and asks if it involves family matters. Shun says he knows her husband, Zhang, so he imagined it had to do with him. He heard stories about Zhang from Chen Nana who quit the dealership because of him. Lin Yuchong suspects Nana and her husband had an affair. Shun Yuan, however, explains that Zhang harassed Nana, and she could not stand the situation anymore. Yuchong agrees that Nana was right to quit to escape Zhang's pestering. Lin Yuchong reveals she is thinking about divorce because of the cheating and the threats Zhang makes against employees. They have been together for 5 years, and she never imagined this would happen. She fears making this decision because of her son and the psychological damage it might cause. Shun Yuan advises that a clean break is better as growing up in such a toxic environment could be worse for the child. Yuchong agrees with Shun Yuan, finding him kind, mature, and possessing a charm that Zhang lacks. Even if looks aren't everything, Yuchong admits she prefers being with a handsome man. She thanks Shin Yuan for his advice. The two get up to leave the cafe after finishing the wine. Suddenly, Lin Yuchang trips and falls right against Shin Yuan's body. Shin Yuan tells her to be more careful, and Yuchang apologizes as they lock eyes. Shin Yuan catches a pleasant scent coming from her, and does not understand why she is apologizing. Suddenly, Yuchang plants a kiss on Shin Yuan's cheek, which instantly stirs him up. Shin Yuan feels the kiss was not enough and wishes they had gone further. Yuchang leaves embarrassed, blaming the alcohol. She was always the proper wife, only crossing the line now because of her cowardly husband. Shin Yuan tells Nana that the dorm is closed and he has nowhere to sleep. Nana tells him not to rent a hotel and to come over and cuddle with her instead. 20 minutes later, Shin Yuan arrives drunk at Nana's door, leaving her shocked. When questioned about his state, Shin Yuan claims it was due to a meeting with the bosses. Nana tells him to sit down and take a shower while she prepares some tea. However, Shin Yuan demands a hug from Nana before anything else. He embraces her from behind, not in a sweet way, but with mischievous intent. The first time, Shin Yuan used the excuse of needing water after training. And now, he uses the excuse of an innocent hug. Nana already understands Shin Yuan's character, and knows exactly how these innocent games end. Shin Yuan asks if Nana does not trust him anymore. Nana replies that they will sleep with separate blankets because he lied and clearly wanted more than just a hug. Shin Yuan did not expect Nana to be so strict, assuming she had gotten used to his ways. Even so, Shin Yuan knows the night is long. Upon lying down, he complains that he is freezing. Nana says she will adjust the air conditioning, but Shin insists that is not necessary. He claims sharing the blanket will solve everything. Hugging Nana from behind and sliding under the covers, the cold disappears completely. Time passes and the two continue their playful antics. Waking up, Shin Yuan reads a note from Nana. It says she left coffee and washed his clothes. Shin Yuan knows he won't find another woman like Nana. He decides to give her a car as a gift. Just then, Shin Yuan gets a call from Meng Lu. Meng Lu calls him scrawny and invites him to train at her gym right now. Shin Yuan moves the camera away. He finds it annoying that Nana's best friend makes such mischievous jokes. Meng Lu flirts and asks if Shin Yuan moved his phone away because he's afraid she'll bite him. Shin Yuan realizes Meng Lu is teasing him early in the morning. Suddenly, Shin Yuan gets a call from the counselor. He tells Meng Lu he can't talk because he has something more important to do. So Shin Yuan hangs up on Meng Lu and answers the counselor, asking what she wants. The counselor says the application is approved and they will send a document to the entrepreneurs. Shin Yuan asks if the forms will also ask for height, weight, and a personal photo. The counselor thinks this has nothing to do with entrepreneurship and there's no reason to fill it out. Shin Yuan says an entrepreneur needs to look good and you can tell by their appearance if they are high caliber. The counselor doesn't think this makes sense, but she ends up accepting and adds what Shin Yuan requested. Secretary Lu schedules a meeting for Shin Yuan and the student representatives. From Shin Yuan's side, everything is set for the meeting. A girl then says she and her sister are moving tomorrow morning and asks if Shin Yuan is free. Without a second thought, Shin Yuan says he is free and will be at her house early tomorrow. A short while later, leaving after breakfast, Shin Yuan gets another call from Lu Meng Lu. Lu Meng Lu says Shin Yuan promised to see her soon, but hasn't kept his word yet. Shin Yuan says he is busy because he scheduled meetings with 2 renovation companies to discuss the mansion project. Lu Meng Lu asks if Shin Yuan needs an extra weight to carry along. Hearing Lu Meng Lu call herself a weight, Shin Yuan thinks there's no reason to take her. However, since she insists she can go with him. Lu Meng Lu argues that she knows how to offer emotional support and that bringing a beautiful woman to discuss the project makes a good impression. Shin Yuan goes to pick up Lu Meng Lu at the gym, and they head to the location together. After they arrive, a man asks Shin Yuan if he is waiting for a woman, and Shin Yuan confirms. The man says Shin Yuan's car is good, but it only impresses ordinary women. To get a goddess, you need a car like his. Seeing that the man's car is a 4x4, Shin Yuan says he understands. Just then, an incredibly beautiful woman appears, surprising the man. Fan asks the woman if she wants to go out to eat, saying he has been waiting for her to leave work for a long time. The woman replies that she made plans with a friend and already told Fan via message. Fan has little personal money to spend as everything belongs to his parents, unlike Shin Yuan, who has a lot of cash. Fan says he will pay for lunch if her friends do not mind and asks to join them. Shin Yuan says there is a problem and he does not want to eat with someone who drives a G-Class. Shin Yuan gets very annoyed when Lu Menglu gets into Fan's car. Shin Yuan wonders how a woman he could not win over even with a G-Class got into Fan's M9. Lu Menglu explains that Fan is a VIP client at the gym and spent a fortune because his family is rich. Fan tried to win Lu Menglu over for a while, but she never responded even though he drives a $2 million car. Shin Yuan says he does not care, leaving Lu Menglu with a sour face. She asks why he is silent. Shin Yuan says he has nothing to say and Lu Menglu thinks he is apathetic today. Shin Yuan understands that Lu Menglu wants him to feel threatened because she has other options and many guys chasing her. Shin Yuan says he only gets excited when he is playing or about to play, and if she does not join his game, he will not get excited. Lu Menglu gets annoyed and asks if all men are scoundrels like Shin Yuan. Defending himself, Shin Yuan says he only invited her to play basketball. Lu Menglu drops the subject and says that at the cafeteria, Shin Yuan went upstairs with Nana and she knows what was on his mind. Shin Yuan knows Lu Menglu will never forget this and changes the subject, asking why she is free to accompany him. Lu Menglu says she is not free and is postponing her private lessons because of Shin Yuan. To compensate, Lu Menglu asks Shin Yuan to take her to eat something good since he feels guilty. Flirting, Shin Yuan says she can eat what is on his body and Lu Menglu gets annoyed again. Stopping his teasing, Shin Yuan decides to take her to eat before they visit the renovation company. In the afternoon, after they eat, Shin Yuan arrives to talk with the chief designer about the house. Since he already sent all the requirements, Shin Yuan came here to see her proposals. According to the budget, the chief designer prepared a luxurious European style and a soft modern Chinese style. Lu Menglu thinks all the styles look great and asks about Shin Yuan's budget. Shin Yuan immediately replies that the budget is 20 million. The chief designer is shocked because the project will cost 30 million and Shin Yuan's assets must be close to hundreds of millions. The company wants to intensify its efforts since nothing has worked so far. Shin Yuan decides to go with the modern Chinese style, adding some things he mentioned and making adjustments. Shin Yuan scheduled a meeting with another renovation company and wants to compare the proposals before deciding. Mr. Wan wants to invite Shin Yuan to dinner and befriend him. Shin Yuan finds it strange. They haven't closed any deal, so dinner feels unusual. The chief designer tells Shin Yuan not to feel pressured. Wan just wants to get to know him better and has already sent his number and address. A $20 million house contract alone sustains the company, and they don't want to lose this client. Arriving at her boss's office, the chief designer announces that the client has accepted the dinner invitation. Wan Renmin knows this will increase his chances of closing the deal, and he won't let this client slip away. He notices Shin Yuan brought a woman who doesn't seem to be his girlfriend. If she isn't his girlfriend, Wan Renmin thinks they can call Su Shuiwei to the meeting. She deserves the best the company can offer. In the car, personal trainer Lu Menglu starts taking off her clothes, complaining about the intense heat. Shin Yuan doesn't feel the heat and Lu Menglu asks what they'll do next. Shin Yuan asks if Lu Menglu isn't going back to work and invites her to dinner with him. Lu Menglu replies that she'll follow Shin Yuan all day, eating and drinking for free. Shin Yuan says his followers are disciplined and Lu Menglu should follow him for a day and a night. Shin Yuan's phrase "a day and a night" carries a mischievous tone. Lu Menglu then says she won't leave Shin Yuan's side until nightfall. Meanwhile, Chun Chun asks Lu Menglu what she's doing, and Lu Menglu replies she's in the car. Chun Chun asks if it's Fan's car, the man who drives the G-Class. However, Chun Chun thinks Fan isn't as extravagant as Shin Yuan, who buys $3 million houses. Lu Menglu then says she's in Shin Yuan's car, and Chun Chun is shocked. She didn't know they were together. Lu Menglu explains she went to see renovation projects with Shin Yuan and reveals he bought a $10 million house. He will still spend another $20 million on renovations, leaving Chun Chun stunned that Shin Yuan spent $30 million in total. Chun Chun knows Nana did well with her man, even though the three friends agreed to suffer together. Nana was the first to win the lottery, and now Lu Menglu also struck gold. With two best friends doing so well, Chun Chun wonders if it's because their bodies are more extravagant. At the restaurant, Wan Renmin meets an acquaintance and says he's waiting for a client. The acquaintance is Wan Renmin's nephew, says he also has dinner but will return to toast with Wan Renmin later. The nephew thinks the meeting is very important because his uncle rarely attends in person. He also questions Wan Renmin walking with a beautiful woman and thinks if she weren't a relative, he'd ask for her number. As they exit the car, Wan Renmin is introduced to Shin Yuan and Lu Menglu. The two greet each other and Wan Renmin asks Shin Yuan if the girl beside him is his girlfriend. Shin Yuan tells Wan Renmin not to be mistaken. They are just friends and Lu Menglu is only accompanying him. Wan Renmin greets Lu Menglu, who gets annoyed because Shin Yuan makes a point of saying she isn't his girlfriend. They head up to the restaurant to start the meeting. As soon as they arrive, Wan Renmin introduces the company's assistant, Su Shuowei. Shaking Su Shuowei's hand, Shin Yuan finds her the most unique girl he's ever met. She is delicate and pure. Wan Renmin notices Shin Yuan likes Su Shuowei and thinks it will be easy to get close to him. Wan Renmin starts with a toast to business and Su Shuowei is instructed to participate. Su Shuowei raises her glass and stands from the table to toast with Shin Yuan. Lu Menglu asks Shin Yuan if he wants another drink. Shin Yuan thinks it is better to stop at this drink since he will be driving later. Shin Yuan does not know if he took the opportunity to tell naughty jokes, but the feeling of being like a couple with Lu Menglu feels good. Su Shuowei asks to make another toast with Shin Yuan. Shin Yuan, with a mischievous tone, says he prefers tea right now. Wan Renmin praises Su Shuowei, saying she is in her final year of college and that since they are young, they can talk more. He suggests Su Shuowei add Shin Yuan on WhatsApp as he is a talented friend. Lu Menglu feels uncomfortable because Wan Renmin said he came to talk business, but he is pushing this personal conversation. Lu Menglu notices that Su Huiwei is a virgin and thinks that forcing someone to entertain a client this way is almost like being a pimp. Lin Guangyao, Wan Renmin's nephew, appears to toast with them. Wan Renmin introduces Shin Yuan to Lin Guangyao, mentioning they are similar in age, and asks Lin Guangyao to initiate a toast with Shin Yuan. Lin Guangyao thinks that his uncle introducing a special guest is a sign that he trusts Shin Yuan and that he is someone important. Lin Guangyao thinks that even if Shin Yuan is not useful day to day, he could be good for showing off at parties. However, Lin Guangyao knows Shin Yuan and wonders what the bastard is doing there. The two toast after greeting each other and pretend they like other. Lin Guangyao wonders why Shin Yuan is his uncle's guest and why Wan Renmin asked him to toast with Shin Yuan in such an exaggerated way. Wan Renmin asks if the two know each other and they reply more or less. Lin discovers that Shin Yuan bought a mansion and plans to spend 20 million on renovations with the company. This leaves Lin in shock as spending 20 million on renovations makes him question how Shin Yuan got rich out of nowhere. Lin tried so hard to please his uncle that in reality he was trying to please Yuan, the man he hates. Yuan became much richer than Lin in less time and surpassed him. Because of this, Lin's uncle became submissive to Yuan and Guang decides to do the same. So Guang congratulates Shin Yuan and calls him Mr. now that he bought the mansion. 3 hours later, Shin Yuan announces they are going to a bar or to sing karaoke and asks if Menglu will come too. Menglu has never been one to stay up all night or drink and her body shows it, so she becomes thoughtful. Menglu prefers to sleep early and wake up early as it is better for her health and she declines the invitation. Menglu fears that some other beautiful woman will seduce her man and she will lose her opportunity. Furthermore, if Menglu is not with Shin Yuan, one might give him alcohol and push Su towards a motel with him. Menglu noticed at dinner that Shin Yuan became interested in Shuowei. And if Shin Yuan is drunk, he will surely lose control going after Shuowei. Just imagining this, Menglu already starts to get jealous and does not want it to happen. Reaching this point will make her lose her slice of the pie, so Menglu stands up and says she needs to leave. Shin Yuan is at a karaoke bar brought here by the manager a few hours ago. Su offers another toast to Shin Yuan, who lowers his glass saying they have already drunk too much. Shin Yuan tells Su that she does not need to do this if she is not comfortable. After all, she is not used to meetings. He understands that a girl from a normal family like Su had difficulties getting an internship at Wan's big company. Lu demands Shin Yuan's attention, who tells her to go after Fan with her G-class car. At this moment, Lu realizes that her methods are not being effective with Shin Yuan. Su asks what song Shin Yuan wants to sing for her to put in the queue, and he says he will sing whatever she wants. Menglu thinks Shin Yuan is doing something wrong because his gaze is stressed. Shin Yuan says Menglu's gaze is also stressed, and she replies that her gaze is just desire, not affection. Menglu says her advantage is this: no matter how much she attracts a man, the results are the same. When Menglu asks what that result would be, Shin Yuan whispers in her ear that it is a trade. This flirtation works so well that Menglu's affinity for Shin Yuan increases. Lu, irritated, feels cornered, but Shen Yuan is honest, unlike others who disguise lust as love. When Shen Yuan places his hand on Lu's leg, she asks him to stop because there are people nearby. The old man warns them, and Su puts on a song for Shen Yuan to sing. So the karaoke continues until 11 at night, and after that, everyone goes home. One never imagined he could befriend someone Shen Yuan's age, and he wants more meetings in the future. Regarding the renovations, Wan considers Guan Ting the most professional option and hopes they can cooperate on it. Wan only looked at 2 companies, and their designs are professional and cheaper, so he lists them as his preference. They leave now, and Wan hopes they can see each other in the future. Seeing Su is a bit drunk, her assistant says she will take Su Shui home. Shen Yuan offers to call a taxi for Su, but she and her assistant refuse. Shen Yuan tells Meng Lu he will rent a room nearby. When Meng Lu asks if there is a better place, Shen Yuan suggests her house. Meng Lu does not plan to be easy, but her gut tells her if she does not act now, she will lose the opportunity. Meng Lu does not want any man to sleep in her house so easily as she has her values. However, Meng Lu notices her affinity is at 75 and keeps rising. Shen Yuan asks where Meng Lu lives to call a taxi, but the woman says she does not want to leave. Meng Lu asks where she will sleep, taking the initiative, and is surprised Shen Yuan is still treating her this way. Confronted like this, Shen Yuan says they can go to a different hotel. Getting into the taxi, Meng Lu hopes Shen Yuan is not as aggressive as he was with Nana at the cafe. The taxi driver sees Meng Lu and thinks Shen Yuan must be very rich to have won over such a beautiful woman. At the most luxurious hotel in Steeler City, Shen Yuan asks for an executive suite for an entire month. An executive suite for a month costs 100,000 yuan. The receptionist asks if Shen Yuan really wants the suite for a whole month. Seeing the total is only 110,000, Shen Yuan asks to put it on credit and requests the first room on the 52nd floor. Since Meng Lu's affinity is above 60, the cashback will be triple, and Shen Yuan gains a lot from this. Seeing Shen Yuan ask for the first room on the 52nd floor, the receptionist thinks he is very used to that hotel. Facing the window, Meng Lu finds the view from the place very extravagant. Meng Lu feels like she is betraying her best friend, but she hopes her friend and Shen Yuan can get along. At this moment, Shen Yuan says he only has eyes for Meng Lu and asks if they can start their cardio. When Meng Lu says she has not showered yet, Shen Yuan tells her to do it later. Meng Lu notices the curtains are open and Shen Yuan says the glass is frosted and they are on the highest floor. Even if someone sees, they will enjoy the show, and Meng Lu thinks Shen Yuan is very wicked. Shen Yuan starts his usual teasing at this moment and they spend the night training. Shen Yuan wakes up feeling very hot and sleeps until noon. He does not expect Meng Lu's body to be so sensitive and thinks she will get dehydrated. Meng Lu asks if Shen Yuan wants to do it again already and says she needs to train more because Shen Yuan has more stamina than her. Shen Yuan is energized by Meng Lu's energy and says he would continue all night, but he holds back so she can sleep. Seeing Shen Yuan lets her sleep more, Meng Lu decides to continue now that she is awake and recovered. Meng Lu complains about the pet name, which is the same as Nana's, and Shen Yuan goes back to calling her Coach Lu. Because Meng Lu behaves well, Shen Yuan will let her sleep more. And when she wakes up, he will buy her a car. Meng Lu is in complete shock hearing this and asks Shen Yuan to repeat what he just said. Meng Lu cannot believe she can choose a car up to 3 million and says she loves Shen Yuan too much. The more Shen Yuan spends, the more refund he gets. So he buys a more expensive car. But Nana isn't happy since Shen Yuan already spent 3 million on her house. Meng Lu always wanted a Porsche, which costs around 3 million, and Shen Yuan says she can buy it. Meng Lu already talked to her friend about this, and her friend prefers a Maserati. Meng Lu also plans to check out a nice model. Shen Yuan didn't know Nana prefers that car, and Meng Lu asks if he's going to buy a car for her. Shen Yuan says he won't lie anymore and intends to do it, and Meng Lu thinks her friend is very lucky. A car and a house together here are worth 2 million, and Meng Lu doesn't want to worry about it. Meng Lu doesn't want to feel jealous and wants to be content with this relationship with Shen Yuan. Chun Chun says a friend saw Meng Lu at the Grand Hyatt Hotel and asks if she spent the night there. Meng Lu says yes and that she stayed at the hotel with someone. When asked about the person, Meng Lu says her heart softened for Shen Yuan and they were together. Chun Qian knows Meng Lu and knows she took the initiative and wasn't forced at all. This means another friend of Chun Qian also went on a luxury cruise and Chun Qian thinks her life is unfair. Shen Yuan tells Meng Lu to buy the car herself and decides he will send a pics. At this moment, Meng Lu's affinity for Shen Yuan rises to 86 points. Last night made the affinity jump from 82 to 86, and now it's close to the 90 reward. Nana learned to make various types of coffee and asks when Shen Yuan will taste them. Shen Yuan says he's busy, that he wants to buy a car, and calls Nana to see the models. They just bought a house, and Nana thinks Shen Yuan is wasting money. After all, she already has a car. When Nana says she doesn't need another one, Shen Yuan says he wants to buy cars for his women and that they aren't poor. Nana states that this time it can be a popular car, not a luxury one. But Shen Yuan says his women can't have a popular car, not even if it costs less than 2 million. Nana's birthday is coming up, so Shen Yuan gives her a multi-million-dollar car as a gift. He has more than enough money. Shen Yuan then asks Nana if she would be sad if something happened between him and Meng Lu, saying he doesn't want to hide anything from her. Nana admits it hurts her deeply and bothers her, adding that next time, he doesn't need to tell her. She reassures Shen Yuan not to worry, stating that only she holds a place in his heart and no one will ever replace her. When questioned, Shen Yuan confirms he has never spoken those words to anyone else. Nana then declares her trust in Shen Yuan, saying she doesn't ask for much. As long as he stops by the cafe and they have dinner together, she's happy. Nana truly is the best. She's so kind and always wants Shen Yuan to save his money. Shen Yuan promises to visit Nana's house tonight to make up for everything. He assures her the compensation will be more than adequate, adding that Nana knows him well. Nana mentions she has customers at the shop and blushes at the memories. Shen Yuan muses that being a sucker isn't easy. He wonders how some men manage to cheat on their girlfriends without ever getting caught. Soon after, Shen Yuan arrives at Counselor Li Zhao's house to help her move. He begins grabbing boxes to carry them down the stairs. Suddenly, a box bursts open, spilling out several pieces of the counselor's underwear. As the clothes tumble, Shen Yuan imagines a fictional scene. Li Zhao asks if he likes the color pink. She then starts to act seductively, showing off various intimate pieces. Shen Yuan desperately wishes this fantasy would become real. Li Zhao gets embarrassed and insists she'll carry that specific box herself. They realize they can't take everything in one trip and will need two. In the car, the two head towards Dongxing community, transporting the boxes. Li Zhao comments that her sister is just like that, but she has no issues with Shen Yuan. In fact, she was friendlier than usual this time. Li Meng wasn't always like this. She had a college boyfriend, a handsome man with glasses. Their relationship was good despite the distance. But one Christmas, Li Meng visited him and caught him cheating. After that, Li Meng became depressed and completely gave up on men. Shen Yuan fakes a shocked reaction, declaring that men like that are the scum of society. Li Zhao asks if Shen Yuan isn't that type of man himself, then laughs. Shen Yuan lies, claiming he's the purest type of man, and asks what Li Zhao's feelings are towards men. Li Zhao replies she's more neutral, as she hasn't had experiences like her sister, Li Meng. Shen Yuan then asks what Li Zhao thinks of him, and the counselor immediately blushes. Li Zhao doesn't know how to answer properly and stumbles over her words. Shen Yuan then reveals it was just a joke, and asks why Li Zhao got so nervous. Li Zhao is visibly relieved to hear it was a joke, admitting she wouldn't know what to do if he were serious. At Li Zhao's new apartment, they finish moving in, and she thanks him, offering to buy him lunch. He says she doesn't need to pay, suggesting he can be rewarded in another way. At that moment, Shen Yuan plants a big kiss on Counselor Li Zhao. Li Zhao is shocked but slowly lets things happen. Initially, Li Zhao says it's not right but eventually accepts the situation. Suddenly, Li Zhao's sister, Li Meng, shows up and asks to open the door, but she doesn't have her key. They stop what they're doing, and Li Zhao doesn't think she can continue. So Shen Yuan goes and opens the door for Li Meng. Li Meng notices Li Zhao's flushed face and asks if she got a sunburn to look like that. Li Zhao says she just needs to rest a bit, feeling a little unwell. Li Zhao is grateful for Li Meng's appearance as Shen Yuan was being bold. Li Meng and Li Zhao found someone for Shen Yuan regarding investments and will send the person's contact. Shen Yuan says he'll talk to the person and leave so as not to bother the sisters. Shen Yuan wanted more time with Li Zhao, but Li Meng got in the way. Then Li Meng asks what Li Zhao really thinks of Shen Yuan, and the counselor asks if it's wrong. Li Meng replies that it's Li Zhao's life and it doesn't matter if she's against it, but she can offer advice. However, Li Zhao doesn't know exactly how she feels about Shen Yuan. Li Meng notices her sister likes Shen Yuan, and says the guy isn't trustworthy even if he's handsome. Again, Li Meng says she isn't against it and Li Xiao can do whatever she wants with her life. Li Meng hugs Li Xiao, who starts thinking even more about Xin Yuan. An hour later at the school cafeteria, Fu Yingji calls out to Xin Yuan. Fu Yingji has just arrived and they sit at the same table. Fu Yingji explains her voice is different from what he heard on the radio because she's a character and gets straight to the point. She says the director mentioned they'll send people to help Xin Yuan. Besides the committee work, Xin Yuan needs Fu Yingzi's help with a few things. As Xin Yuan goes to ask Fu Yingzi for help with something for the first few days, he's interrupted. Someone appears shouting Yingzi's name and bringing her favorite food. Feng gets jealous when he sees Xin Yuan at the table with Fu Yingzi. He shoots a venomous glare at Xin Yuan, seeing him as a love rival. Fu Yingzi says she isn't eating sugar, but Feng insists she take it, saying it was hard to get. Annoyed, Fu Yingzi tells Feng she doesn't want his food. The two fight fiercely, and Feng leaves shaken, while everyone at the college gossips. The college mean girls get annoyed when they see Xin Yuan sitting with Fu Yingzi. They think the other girls at college have already figured out Xin Yuan is rich and are trying to take advantage of him. Hui Hui approaches Fu Yingzi asking how much dignity she's willing to lose. When asked if he's going to class, Xin Yuan says he has matters to resolve with Fu Yingzi on the committee. When Hui Hui gets very close, Xin Yuan tells her she'll repeat the year because she's missed too much. Fu Yingzi notices Hui Hui is making it clear she's dating Xin Yuan and gets up to leave. Fu Yingzi and Xin Yuan say goodbye, and the college is shocked by the fight between the two goddesses over Xin Yuan. Hui Hui asks what they were talking about and doesn't want Fu Yingzi to get close to Xin Yuan. Xin Yuan replies it was about the committee, which Fu Yingzi will help with, and notices Hui Hui is possessive and intense. Hui Hui wants to spend more time with Xin Yuan as they haven't seen each other in 2 days, but she has class now. Hui Hui whispers something in Xin Yuan's ear and says goodbye, leaving a mischievous atmosphere. Xin Yuan notices Hui Hui is an insatiable woman. Meng Lu calls Xin Yuan, saying she found a car for 2 million, and he decides to transfer the money. Next, Meng Lu calls him to a place to show off her new clothes, claiming Xin Yuan will like them. However, Xin Yuan does not know what these clothes are and Meng Lu promises to show him in person. Xin Yuan gets confused because he had planned to see Nana and Hui Hui wanted to grab something cold with him. This leaves Xin Yuan undecided about which of the three he will see that night. At Li Zhao's house, her sister Li Meng asks if they should invite Xin Yuan for lunch with them. Li Meng suggests texting Xin Yuan to thank him for his help. Thinking about Xin Yuan's level of naughtiness, Counselor Li Xiao feels like biting him. They decide to invite Xin Yuan to test him. So Li Xiao sends the message saying Li Meng is grateful and invited him for dinner. Xin Yuan is shocked by the string of women wanting to go out with him that day. Thinking about what to do, Xin Yuan decides to cancel with Meng Lu and Hui Hui. Arriving at Counselor Li Zhao's house, she warns that dinner will take a while. Entering the house, Xin Yuan says he will wait in the living room. He notices that teacher Li Xiao tidied up the house very quickly. Next, Xin Yuan asks where Li Zhao's sister is, and she replies that Li Meng is in the shower. Suddenly, Li Xiao tells Xin Yuan not to come any closer, and he says he only wanted to help with dinner. Li Xiao tells Xin Yuan to relax in the living room because the food is almost ready. Getting closer, Xin Yuan says they can chat in the kitchen in the meantime. Xin Yuan, however, says they are still far apart and notices that Counselor Li Xiao is very nervous. Xin Yuan grabs Li Xiao by the waist and says he won't do anything, just as she warns him her sister is home. However, Xin Yuan, the playboy, says that if Li Meng is in the shower, it will take a while because women usually take their time. Li Xiao, his teacher, tries to say this is not right, but they start to fool around. When Li Meng, the sister, announces she is out of the shower and asks about dinner, they stop what they are doing. Li Xiao tells Xin Yuan not to do that again, and the scoundrel replies that he understands how she feels. Just as Xin Yuan praises the food highly, Li Meng says she has questions for him. Asking how many girlfriends he has had, Xin Yuan says it was 2. Publicly, Xin Yuan only acknowledged one in high school and Zhou Wanting, and the others do not need to know. Li Meng thinks it might be good for her sister, Li Xiao, who has never dated, to get involved with someone experienced. If Li Meng thought 2 was a big number, Xin Yuan imagines her reaction if she knew about his other 3 girlfriends. Next, Li Meng says she has a younger sister who is 18. The conversation unfolds for another 10 minutes during dinner, and Li Meng's questions run out. Shin Yuan thinks he is making good progress because Li Meng seems to be liking him. The protagonist starts rubbing his leg against Li Meng's, leaving her embarrassed. Li Meng underestimated him as the protagonist is doing this right in front of her sister without a care. Li Meng stands up to cut fruit, but the protagonist says she must be tired and does not need to. Li Meng finds it strange that her sister is quiet, as she would normally be happy around a guy she likes. The protagonist intends to leave to see Nana and not bother Li Meng anymore. After the protagonist leaves, Li Meng says she tested him well, but she needs to test him more herself. Even though the protagonist is mature, Li Meng finds him too naughty as they are not even dating yet. At Chun Nana's apartment, he looks for formal clothes. He also promised to try her new coffee. He says he plans to make a formal and moral compensation because Chun Nana asked for it. He will compensate her with several 100 million all at once even if Nana doesn't want it. Chun Nana puts on her formal work clothes and asks why men like them. Approaching her, he says she should understand a little bit of the reason. An hour and a half later, he starts with mischievous kisses. His affinity with Chun Nana reaches 90 after these warmer activities. After getting another woman to 90 affection, the mission is complete and he will receive a reward. This time, the bonuses are an increase in organ size, 5 million in cars, and exclusive skills. He decides to see what happens when he increases the size of the part and can't believe it's real. Suddenly, Chun Nana feels something changing inside and finds it strange. He says this is the answer to why he likes those clothes so much. Nana's reaction is to scream because she's enjoying it so much. Chun Nana asks why she feels so different. Shin asks in what way she feels different, and Chun Nana can't explain. Shun says he will give her even more surprises in the future, and this makes her happy. Chun Nana's current state is the highest praise for a man, and if it gets even better, it will be great. Now, Shin checks out the good stuff in the exclusive skill package. The system says the redemption card can be exchanged for any of the skills. The skills include cooking, driving, combat, dancing, among others. Shin understands things like home repairs, but doesn't get why he'd want to cut hair. Shin thinks combat isn't the worst among these and considers learning it. Even with laws, women with a lot of money can still get into fights. However, Shin thinks if Li Meng's TV breaks, he can get closer to her by fixing it. He imagines a scenario where he goes to Li Meng's house to fix things, and she asks to wipe his sweat. Shin already considers this skill the best because of this fictional scenario he created in his head. Shin notices that with each system reward, they become more generous. Because of this, Shin wonders what kind of reward he will get when the third girl reaches 90 affection. Suddenly, Chun Nana gets a call from her mother, who asks her to transfer money. Chun Nana says she will send it, and that if any other problems happen, her mother can let her know. Then Chun Nana tells Shin that her father had a heart attack from drinking and is in the hospital with blood pressure problems. Chun Nana thinks it's her fault because if she had gone on a date to please her father, he wouldn't have drunk so much. Shin Yuan offers to take Chun Nana home right now. However, Chun Nana thinks this time won't be safe and decides to go the next morning. He states that he will go with Chun Nana whenever she wants to leave. Even though he pleases her a lot, their relationship isn't official and Chun Nana doesn't want him to take her because of that. So Chun Nana states that she will go to her parents' house alone. The womanizing protagonist says that if Chun Nana needs money, she can let him know, and he will send it to her. The next day, Chun Nana leaves a letter saying she's going to her hometown. Even in a hurry, Chun Nana made his coffee and isn't materialistic or possessive like Meng Lu and Hui Hui. Nana is the best, most sensitive, and sweetest of all his women. Suddenly, he notices a call from Fu Yingzi early in the morning and gets curious. Fu Yingzi says she sent several chairs and tables for him to decide which ones he prefers. Shin tells Fu Yingzi to choose since she's at the furniture store, and the girl hangs up. Shin finds Fu Yingzi's proactive attitude great and even considers being with her. Meanwhile, some college guys follow Fu Yingzi and keep pestering her, but she wants nothing to do with them. One of the guys insists, claiming he just wants to help. But he's not even on the student council and he's really getting on Fu Yingzi's nerves. He's been following her for 3 years and can't compete with a guy she just met yesterday who is both rich and handsome. Seeing that Shun is willing to spend 10 million on this, Fu Yingzi realizes he's so rich that money means nothing to him. The crucial part is that Shun is the same age as Fu Yingzi, and the girl immediately starts to get interested. Fu Yingzi imagines herself as Shun's secretary, even if she's not his girlfriend, and assumes he probably has more than one woman. She decides she must showcase her skills and other qualities to stay by Shin's side and enjoy his wealth. Meanwhile, Nana and her mother go to the hospital to see her father who suffered a heart attack. However, upon returning home, Nana's mother introduces her to two guys. Nana is 27 and still doesn't have a boyfriend, so her mother is trying to set her up. Nana's aunt then introduces her son's friend who traveled from another city just to meet Nana. The man named Dong owns his own company, complete with many employees, a house, and a car. Dong humbly says his car is nothing special, but it's a Series 5. Chun Nana, however, couldn't care less that the car is top tier. Besides bringing drinks for Nana's father, Dong also brought a $3,000 gold ring for the aunt. This clearly shows Dong is kind and would make an excellent son-in-law for Nana's mother. Nana's mother tells them to sit down and chat, but Nana quickly slips away to have a word with her mother. Her mother warns her not to be disrespectful as Dong is waiting outside. Nana complains that she was tricked into coming here with a fake heart attack from her father. Nana's mother explains that she and her father are worried because Xiaoli, the youngest, already has 2 children. Nana gets furious with her mother for comparing her to Xiaoli. Furious Nana messages Shin, explaining that her father isn't in the hospital and they tricked her into a setup. Shin replies that he's almost off the main road and asks for Nana's exact location. Seeing that Shun is actually heading her way, Nana wonders what's about to unfold. Nana informs her mother that someone is on their way. Her mother asks if it's a man or a woman, but Nana just smiles mysteriously. Meanwhile, Nana's aunt keeps pushing her father, insisting that Dong is the absolute best match for their daughter. However, just 15 minutes later, Shin arrives, laden with bags of purchases. He explains it's the least he could do, as it's his first time meeting Nana's parents, and he's brought a variety of gifts. Shun Yuan then introduces himself as Chun Nana's boyfriend and reiterates that he's brought some presents. Nana's parents are shocked and ask why she never mentioned having a boyfriend. Nana's mother thanks Shun for his kindness and is happy he came. Shun says he isn't just being kind because his girlfriend's family is like family to him too. Surprised by the jewelry, Nana's parents wonder how much it cost. Shin says it was a little over 300,000. The whole family is shocked by how much money Shin spent. They don't think it's normal. Dong asks Nana's aunt how she suddenly showed up with a boyfriend. He thought Nana was single. Nana's aunt just found out and questions why Nana brought a boyfriend to meet the family today. And he arrives with 300,000 yuan and gifts, making Dong look like an idiot. Nana's aunt thinks Shin might be a fake boyfriend and spent a lot to stage this. Nana's aunt takes on the mission to find out if Shun is her real boyfriend. Shin introduces himself to Nana's aunt. Responding to her question, he says he is 21 years old. Nana's aunt finds it absurd that a 27-year-old woman is dating a young, very rich guy. Shin says he is in college and has outside businesses. He makes investments in the financial market. Nana's aunt notices Shin is really playing big. She thinks anyone can dabble in finance these days. Nana's aunt doesn't fall for Shin's talk. She asks if he already owns a house because she wants Nana to get married. Shin says he has 2 houses, one in Nana's name and one in his, both in Star City. This makes Dong green with envy, while Nana's aunt thinks she will catch Shun in the act. Nana's aunt says it's good to have pride, but he doesn't need to pretend to be something he's not, as he should be honest in dating. A house in Star City costs over 1 million, and Nana's aunt doubts Shin truly has that kind of money. Nana says the house is in her name. She has the receipt and Shin really bought it. Chun Nana shows the receipt and the full contract on her phone. The aunt accuses Shin Yuan of making a fake contract, saying he really went all out on the lie. Shin Yuan replies that the house will be ready. He will transfer 1 million for decoration, promising more if needed. The family, still suspicious that Shin Yuan is a scammer, wants proof he really has this money. Chun Nana thinks 1 million for decoration is an absurd amount and says she doesn't need that much. However, the money drops into the account immediately, leaving the family in shock when they see it's true. The aunt is startled to realize Shin Yuan transferred 1 million just because she doubted his wealth. Dong wonders how rich Shin Yuan is to transfer 1 million just to decorate a house. Seeing he lost badly, Dong tries to sneak away to retrieve the imported wines and cigarettes he brought. Besides failing his marriage proposal, Dong gets an absurd reality check. Even with the meeting going wrong, Dong doesn't want to waste the trip. He thinks this rich man could be a valuable contact for his business. So Dong asks Shin Yuan how much the houses cost because 1 million for renovations is already a lot. Seeing he is already in this situation, Shin Yuan goes all out and reveals he spent 10 million on his house and 3 million on Chun Nana's house. The fact that Shin Yuan treats 10 million like it's nothing makes the family see his house as a toy. The aunt notices Dong sucking up to Shin Yuan and also wants to secure her place. So the aunt apologizes for speaking without a filter earlier, stating that they are now family. She promises to be more formal next time, and the whole family apologizes too. At this moment, Chun Sinyu, Chun Nana's younger sister, appears in the room. Sinyu is overjoyed that her sister is back and is introduced to Shin Yuan, her brother-in-law. Shin Yuan greets her and notices that Shin Yu looks just like Chun Nana, only younger and more well-kept. This makes Shin Yuan wonder if Shin Yu is on the family's side, and then everyone gathers. Shin Yuan proposes a toast, thanks Chun Nana's parents for raising their daughter, and declares himself a lucky man. He says he wants to take everyone to see the car and house he bought for Chun Nana. Chun Nana's aunt wonders if Shin Yuan will give a house and car to her parents too. Chun Nana's parents are stunned by what Shin Gwin just said. They say they are old and barely use a car, that he didn't need to spend so much, and they are in shock. A 280 square meter house will be empty because it's so big. To make up for this, Chun Nana says she will visit her parents more often. Chun Nana's father says she used to complain that no one wanted her, and now she has found the boyfriend of her dreams. Later that day, Shin Yuan sits on the sofa, and Chun Nana thanks him for everything he has done. Shin Yuan says Chun Nana is his woman, and that he only did his duty. Then he asks her a question. He asks if Chun Nana's parents will let them sleep in the same room or not. Chun Nana replies that Chun Yuan will sleep in the guest room. But when it's time for bed, she will come to him. When 11 o'clock at night arrives, Chun Nana appears in Shin Yuan's bed asking if he is awake. Shin Yuan says he couldn't sleep without talking to her properly first. He notices that Chun Nana is without her underwear and the fun begins. They do everything in silence so as not to wake the parents. However, the younger sister, Chun Sinyu, enters the house in the middle of the night and opens the door when she hears some noises. When Sinyu opens the door, she sees a scene that frightens her greatly. Even though she has seen videos with her friends, seeing these things up close leaves Sinyu terrified. Sinyu notices that her brother-in-law, Shin Yuan, is also a very strong man. She doesn't want to keep watching this scene and runs back to her room. An hour and a half later, Shin Yu returns to her sister's room to sleep together. Chun Nana is startled to notice that her younger sister Sinyu is still awake. The two sleep embracing as Sinyu cannot sleep any other way. Chun Nana notices that her younger sister is growing up and getting into mischief. The next day at noon, Shin Yuan returns to his university. There, Shin Yuan talks with Fu, who asks if the office is to his liking. Shin Yuan says everything is fine and he doesn't want to change anything. Shin Yuan notices that the girl, besides being beautiful, is quick and attentive to every detail. Thinking she could become his secretary in the future, he watches her deliver the class's first incubation requests. She says there are 15 assignments and hands them to him so he can take a look. Shin Yuan is shocked to see that the document photos have filters. Putting that aside, he doesn't want to waste time on photos and go straight to the business plans. He thinks the idea of a lingerie shop inside the university is brilliant. After all, anyone seen entering this shop would have their social life ruined. Flawed proposals like this won't work. Even with 10 million for the incubator, he doesn't want to spend it carelessly. Although he gets cash back from girls who increase his affinity, Shin Yuan doesn't know if he wants to do this for life. He doesn't want to be an old sugar daddy pleasing young girls in bikinis nor a perverted old man. The incubator and Nana's cafe should generate real business experience. As soon as possible, he will enter the business market and transform a company into an empire. He wants to create his own global industry like Tesla and be a legend of this generation. Shin Yuan thinks he overestimated the students. Their proposals are too wild and he does not want any of them. Fu Yingxi says this is just a small sample. The college and the league committee can promote more. In fact, Secretary Liu already asked to fully support him. The radio station Fu Yingxi manages will start advertising morning and night. They will also promote on social media. Shin Yuan orders a second phase of tests to be prepared. They must cover management, investment, marketing, and more. Fu Yingxi says she will take care of it right away. Shin Yuan thanks her for the work she is doing. Since he gained the system, he only spent and earned money. For the first time, he enjoys giving orders. Having more practical talents like Fuingzi is the secret to his future. From now on, he will develop affinity and needs to find competent subordinates without wasting time. At the gym, Manager Gong says Lu Menglu cannot show up at work at these hours. She might lose her job. Menglu says she requested time off and the students had other classes scheduled. Manager Gong gets irritated because no one approved her time off. Menglu tells him to check the message. It says that if she had lunch with Lu, he would approve her time off. When Menglu asks if there is no other way to resolve it, Manager Gong says he did not approve it. So it is an unannounced absence. He asks if she knows how much is deducted from a salary for an absence according to companies. When Menglu hears about the salary deduction, she says she will quit the gym and leaves. A man in love with her asks if Menglu really quit. He says all the clients came because of her. He shows Manager Gong the car Lu Menglu arrived in. Manager Gong is in shock. He sees Lu Menglu get into a 911, which must belong to a sugar daddy. At that moment, Lu Menglu calls Xin Yuan. She tells him her boss fired her and asks him for comfort. Xin Yuan says this is great. She is perfect to be his exclusive personal trainer. Lu Menglu asks if she will get a prize for being his exclusive personal trainer. Xin Yuan says yes. They will train a lot and as a bonus, she will get dozens of mini goals to have fun with. Lu Menglu says she will wait for him in the exclusive suite and says goodbye to the man. When it is 8:30 at night, Lu Menglu says he is arriving so late. She tells him he is not coming into her room. Xin Yuan finds her very provocative. He decides to play along with her game. So Xin Yuan says that since he is not allowed in, he is leaving the hotel. At the same moment, Lu Menglu starts begging him to come back and not leave. Xin Yuan states that she was the one who did not let him in. Lu Menglu says she only wanted to create some atmosphere. Since she is begging, Xin Yuan wants to see if her attitude is sincere or not. Lu Menglu starts rubbing against him and begging him not to leave. When Xin Yuan feels that what she is asking is true, he decides to stay. In a matter of seconds, they start getting more intimate. Heading to bed, Lu Menglu starts saying she was naughty and he can punish her. Xin Yuan asks her to repeat the nickname she called him. So Lu Menglu calls him Sugar Daddy again in his ear. Liking the nickname she gave him, Shunwen promises to be strong during their session. The session lasts about an hour and is very intense. Money aside, Shun's performance is so addictive. He does not charge her for being his personal trainer and asks her to keep teaching him. Meng finds his vigor during these activities abnormal. Even after it ends, another hour passes and they go for another round. The girl ends up exhausted and asks if he cannot be gentler with her. Our hero claims he was gentle and says he only used 50% of the strength he uses with Nana. She remembers that day at the cafe and is sure he proved today that he gave his all. Thanks to his relentless and resilient skills, he possesses an infinite energy cheat. Shin feels he is losing energy because he has lost some weight. He opens his attribute system and notices he is 70 kilo with 69 health. He has lost 2 kilos in 15 days and his health has dropped by 3 points. He decides he will start training tomorrow with Coach Lu because he is too thin. She thinks scheduling for tomorrow would be a problem because he might want to do more hot things first. Then, the protagonist says he wants a real workout because he is too thin. The woman is happy that it finally clicks, realizing he is quite thin, and the protagonist gets annoyed by what she says. She apologizes for being naughty, and then he asks her to put together a decent workout for him. Meng will give him a complete weight training regimen to gain mass and control fat. The hotel has a gym and they will train there. Shun will stop by his place to grab clothes and a kit for her. Xin Yuan, the host, activates the fitness path and unlocks a new panel. The mission activates. If he reaches 75 kilo d'or with 12% body fat within a month, he will gain the perfect physique. The effect lasts 2 years and he is impressed with the fitness panel. He decides to focus on weight and fat, working on his physique. Suddenly, he finds a button he did not know the function of. This button shows investment strategies and business management. Being fit is just one part. If he hits the system's goals, he will unlock new abilities. With this system, he learns in 1 month what others take years to master. The next day, he eats the hotel breakfast and the girl prepares his lunch and dinner. He finds this too good and thanks Coach Lu Menglu. He thinks that from now on, he cannot exhaust himself like the previous night. Meng states that the protagonist is tireless and incredible and he should eat quickly so they can go train. They arrive at the gym and people notice the coach has an extremely perfect body. Everyone is afraid to look at her and feel aroused in the gym because a goddess next to a chicken seems like a waste and the muscular guys think they have a chance. She starts teaching our hero how to do a back exercise. Suddenly, at the hotel gym, a man with glasses recognizes our protagonist. The man notices Shin is with a stunning woman and remembers seeing him buy luxury bags for another woman just the other day. Lu says he needs to train and that for his first workout it is good. He can drink water and take it slow. At that moment, the protagonist asks when he will taste her flesh again. The man gets angry because the protagonist is enjoying himself with another woman while he himself was blocked by Joe. He does not know where Joe lives nor why he got dumped, and he hates it. The man notices Shin is seeing two women at the same time and plans to expose him so they will leave him. He wants to see Shin explain himself to the woman and walks towards Shin to greet him. When the man approaches to greet him, the womanizer asks what he wants. The man says it is nothing important, so our hero decides to continue training. Since he has not said what he wants yet, the man will not leave before that. He asks if the girl Shin took to the mall the other day is not here. The man knows that, if they were truly a couple, the question would make Shin explode. However, 20 seconds pass and the two do not fight. The man finds it strange that she has no reaction and thinks they are not together. Hojin approaches Lu Menglu and reaffirms that Shun was with another woman that day. Lu Menglu replies that it was Shun's sister, and that Hojin should mind his own business. After all, he is not even close to them. Hojun insists that Shin only has a handsome face and is cheating on Lu Menglu with several other women. Lu Menglu states that even if Shin dates 3 women at the same time, she is happy with him, and it is none of Hojun's business. Hojun finds this strange because Shin bought 2 bags worth over 100,000 for another woman. Coach Lu Menglu says that the money is Shun's, and he spends it as he wishes. And if he is happy, she is too. Deep down, Lu Menglu does not care because Shin gave her a $2 million car. How Jun does not understand how Lu Menglu is still smiling and what kind of relationship the two have. Lu Menglu tells Ho Jun to back off because he is ruining the mood between her and Shun. How Jun gets very annoyed with these kinds of people who do not care about cheating and leaves. Lu Menglu, who is Shin's personal trainer and housekeeper, knows her place and does not care about the cheating. 2 hours later during the workout, Lu Menglu treats Shin with affection. She states that Shin did well, his posture is perfect, and tomorrow she will increase the load. Shin asks if it is revenge, since if he increases the load at night, she increases the load during daytime workouts. Lu Menglu explains that today was just for Shin to get used to the equipment and later they will increase the weights. Shun says his muscles are already relaxed and calls her to take a shower. In the shower, Shun tells Coach Lu Menglu that there is a part he still needs to work on. He pulls her closer, showing her what part that is. Lu Menglu calls him husband, then corrects herself to daddy, and asks if Shun is going to the university campus. Shun says he has things to sort out there and that Lu Menglu can sleep at the hotel today. Lu Menglu finds it strange to be alone at the hotel, and decides to go back to her apartment. When Lu Menglu's affinity reaches 88, Shun asks her to call him that nickname again. So Lu Menglu calls him daddy again. Shin notices that from last night until now, the affinity has risen another 2 points and is almost at 90. Heading to college, Shun meets Fu Yingzi and thinks she is clingy and already after him. Fu Yingzi avoids the boy who follows her and apologizes to Shun because of him. The boy says he just wanted to help with something because the more people, the faster the work gets done. Fu Yingzi says she does not need him because he will not help with anything in that place. Then Shin closes the door and lowers the blinds, which makes the boy jealous. The boy starts to wonder what Shin and Fu Yingzi are doing in that activity room. He imagines a scenario where Fu Yingzi kisses Shin, and it drives him crazy. Shin asks how the promotion is going, and Fu Yingzi says it is good and new proposals have emerged. Shin thinks about dropping another bombshell to truly popularize the program. Yingzi asks what she can do to help in this situation. Shin asks to link the project directly to him, and students should know that he invested in the project. He suggests creating clickbait about a student who invested 10 million in the college without revealing who he is at first. Fu Yingzi gives the idea of releasing clues little by little to make people curious and increase the hype. Fu Yingzi does not understand why Shin wants to be in the spotlight, but she will execute his plan. Shin explains that if attention increases, more student proposals will emerge, and he can choose the best ones. He will gain academic standing because of this strategy and recruit smart girls. Shin asks to hold the information so it does not leak and go wrong. First, they will start with unofficial profiles to generate engagement. Shin decides to change the subject to talk about Fu Yingzi. Fu Yingzi has already realized that Shin has someone and no longer thinks about a relationship with him, noting that she was direct in her question. Fu Yingzi wants a better job because the college is second tier and it is hard to find an internship. Since Fu Yingzi did not have the courage to say she wants him, things will not happen normally. Fu Yingzi wants to earn 8,000 per month, which is double or even triple what she would earn in other jobs. Shin closes the deal at 10,000 plus a bonus if she works properly. Fu Yingzi gets excited about the money and questions if working for Shin involves other things. Meanwhile, the boy obsessed with Fu Yingzi keeps calling out for her. Shin Yuan finds the man pathetic. The woman decides to talk to him to resolve the situation. Shin Yuan declares he will solve this problem once and for all. He pulls the girl by her waist in a sensual way. Then Shun Yuan kisses her neck, leaving a visible mark. As soon as he opens the door, Shun Yuan calls the man a simp. The girl appears with the mark on her neck. The woman tells the guy to stop looking for her, explaining she now has a boyfriend. She leaves, embracing Shun Yuan. In shock, the man asks since when they are dating. Shin Yuan replies they just started and tells the man to back off not to bother them. The man collapses to the ground crying, unable to believe what just happened. Shin Yuan wants the man to face reality. Money and power are unbeatable. Shin Yuan and the woman stop their act now that the guy won't bother her anymore. Then Shun Yuan leaves without speaking to the woman, who seems to want something more with him. Shin Yuan wants to stop being just a show-off playboy and activate his knowledge modules to evolve. He starts with business administration since he never learned much about it in college. To begin studying business management, Shun Yuan must master several professional areas. He focuses on both theory and practice. And even coming from a top school, it won't be easy. Luckily, his advisor has a double degree, and her first major is administration. Just then, Shun Yuan gets a message from the former coffee shop owner inviting him for a drink tonight. He already knew their last encounter wouldn't be the final one. Shin Yuan sets the date for the following evening as he has an appointment with the teacher tonight. The former coffee shop owner grows anxious, having to wait another full day to see him. An hour later, his first girlfriend, Hui Hui, texts him saying she misses him. They meet up. Shin Yuan tells Hui Hui she always looks stunning. Inside his head, Shun Yuan thinks about teacher Li, fully aware there's a long line of suitors for him. After their intense time together, Hui Hui's affinity score jumps from 91 to 93. It's getting harder to increase, but harder also means better rewards, just like leveling up in a game. Shun Yuan mentions he will help her buy a house and will take her to see some options this weekend. Overjoyed, the girl says she loves Shun Yuan and hugs him tight. The next morning on the college campus, students are buzzing about the startup incubator. They wonder if a student invested the 10 million. Other girls think none of them have the brains for real investment. Hui Hui's friend wants to tell everyone the truth, but Hui Hui asks her to keep it a secret. The friend doesn't understand why Shin Yuan hides the secret and flaunts his money discreetly. She even offers to be an employee or assistant to Shen Yuan, Hui Hui's boyfriend. The friend quickly denies any intention of stealing her boyfriend and expresses happiness for Hui Hui being with Shen Yuan. Then the friend starts asking questions about what they did, and Hui Hui gets embarrassed to answer. A girl asked Yu Ping if she saw the post about the student who spent 10 million on the incubator. Yu Ping says you shouldn't believe internet gossip and that people are trying to make fools of everyone. After all, if someone did that, they must have a net worth of at least 100 million yuan. And the college would let that person do whatever they wanted with that kind of money. Yiping thinks if someone spent that much, they'd be showing off constantly, not being so discreet and boring. Yiping agrees with the girl and thinks the investor is Shin Yuan because he has money and bought the coffee shop for the older woman. She says the other day Shin Yuan was rude over something trivial and he must be the rich investor. Meanwhile, gossip spreads across the college campus. Shin Yuan continues with his plan while everyone comments on the investments. He asks the counselor for help because he wants to study the fundamentals of administration. So Shen Yuan asks her for some lessons, and she wonders what he's plotting now. Shen Yuan swears that this time, he really just wants to learn about administration. He says he'll go to her house later, and the counselor asks if Shen Yuan isn't going to cause trouble again. Shun Yuan says he's trustworthy and promises he won't try anything. The counselor is reluctant, but Shun Yuan assures her she doesn't need to worry about anything. Arriving at her house after a car ride, the teacher makes him promise again that it won't be like last time. Shun Yuan states with 100% certainty that nothing improper will happen. So Shun Yuan enters, and the counselor starts showing him her college books. The counselor states he'll have to memorize most of it. However, he can connect it with real-world examples and will start memorizing everything immediately. After an hour of intense studying, Shun Yuan stops and starts staring at her for some reason. He states that the counselor is much more interesting than the book. Hearing this, the counselor realizes what's about to start again and reminds him of his promise. Shun Yuan says he's studying seriously and also wants her to be his girlfriend, stating that one thing doesn't exclude the other. The counselor tells Shun Yuan to stop talking nonsense, but he insists he's serious with the teacher. Then Shun Yuan stands up and hugs her. The counselor, surprised, says her sister is sleeping in the next room. Shun Yuan replies that it's even better because then her sister will already know their relationship is official. When the counselor says she doesn't agree with this, Shun Yuan kisses her, saying she will eventually agree. The counselor thinks all men are the same because Shun Yuan promised he wouldn't try anything. However, she asks Shun Yuan to stop his wandering hand and makes it clear that nothing more will happen. At that moment, Li Meng wakes up and catches them in the act, completely shocked. She sees her sister and Shun Yuan on the sofa, completely shameless, and thinks the girl is bold. The teacher gets annoyed with Shun Yuan because her younger sister just saw everything. Shun Yuan says Li Meng would find out anyway, and it's better she finds out now. However, the counselor doesn't agree since she hasn't accepted being Shun Yuan's girlfriend and can't explain the situation to her sister. Shun Yuan asks the counselor if she likes him, and she starts to stutter. Deep down, she likes him, but the fact that she's his teacher complicates the situation. Shun Yuan notices her affection rises 2 points, going to 71. Since she isn't materialistic, money won't work. Only effort and sincerity will win her over. Shun Yuan says he won't give up, says goodbye, and states he wants to see her again. At that moment, the counselor tells her sister she can come out of the room. Li Meng asks if they finished their mess. Li Meng asks her older sister if they are together, and if she can call Shun Yuan her brother-in-law. The counselor states they aren't officially together, and this doesn't make sense to Li Meng. Li Meng states they didn't go all the way, and the counselor doesn't know what to think about their relationship. Li Meng already noticed her sister is totally in love with Shun Yuan, and just hasn't realized it yet. Later, at Nana's cafe, Shun Yuan goes to meet the former owner. Lin apologizes for the trouble, saying she's in a bad mood and wants to talk to someone. Shun Yuan says she isn't bothering him and asks if everything is okay with Lin. Lin says her husband is spending the night out and isn't even hiding the scent of other women. She thinks she can have coffee with someone since her husband goes out and does what he wants, and there's nothing wrong with that. Then, Lin asks Shun Yuan if Chun Nana, the cafe owner, is his girlfriend. When Shun Yuan says it's so, Lin asks if Nana knows they are having coffee. Shun Yuan replies he doesn't know and wouldn't care if Nana found out. Lin says she wouldn't feel guilty as she doesn't want to interfere with anyone's relationship. She asks Shun Yuan for a hug, feeling very sad. Shun Yuan asks Lin to come closer. As he hugs her, Shun Yuan asks if her husband knows she's with him. Lin tells him not to mention her scumbag husband and kisses Shun Yuan on the mouth. Shun Yuan feels guilty for being with another woman in Nana's cafe, but he decides not to care because he's a scoundrel and doesn't want to overthink things. When Shun Yuan starts to try something more advanced, Lin says she can't. Shun Yuan says she can't demand he behave at that moment. However, to compensate, Lin says she will help him relax. Shun Yuan, however, isn't satisfied and still wants more. Shun and Lin engage in some more advanced games, and Lin feels like she's in paradise. Then Shun asks Lin to clean him in an unusual way. Shun always heard that younger guys don't appreciate mature women, but he sees they are wrong. With Lin, it's different. Shun's affection level with her rises to 60. Shun is congratulated for having 5 women with affection levels above 60 and earns a bonus. He acquires twice as many high-efficiency study cards and more exclusive skills. Shun didn't expect the system besides tracking affection would also count how many women like him. Curious, Shun wants to see what good comes this time and performs the draw. He thought the management book took too long, but the card will help him in just a few hours. The perfect life draw offers random rewards, like bonuses, real items, and even money, businesses, and attribute boosts. Shun wants to be lucky and win something really good. Suddenly, Lin notices Shun is very happy and has never seen him this way. Lin says it's time to go home and that next time they will continue. Shun is impressed that Lin wants to continue the affair. Shun receives several comments that Fu Yingzi sent from the internet. People doubt there's any student in the course who actually has all that money. Fu Yingzi thinks receiving hate online is a good sign as it generates visibility due to the discussion. Shun will start dropping more clues about his course, year, and area without revealing his name. He will put the startup project aside for now to see the surprise the system has prepared. Seeing he won 2 draw chances, Shun wants to use them now. He receives a 500 square meter shop in Yunka Elegant Garden. Shun must pick it up in 1 week at the Elegant Garden sales office. He is amazed to win a shop in the most luxurious location in Star City, which will bring in a lot of money. Shun can live off the rental income from this shop and still performs another draw. In this draw, Shun wins an attribute adjustment for his physical status. This way, he can complete his training mission by adjusting his fat and gaining muscle mass. Since he is an ectomorph, it is hard for Shun to gain mass, so he boosts his weight. Adding the weight he gained from Coach Lu's training, Shun now has 5 kilograms of muscle. The system gives bonuses for high affection levels and generates rewards for reaching a high number of girls with affection. So Shun needs to expand his network and meet even more women to earn more rewards. Shun hears he can study and get closer to the counselor at the same time. With this card, Shun has even more topics to discuss with her. The next day, while maintaining his gym and study routine, Shun buys a Maserati for Chun-Na and gets a G63 for himself. People notice Shun's car costs 3 million and cannot believe someone like him can study there. They say the person behind the startup is from the International Business course and drives a G-class. In the school auditorium, they ask a student why he came to the fair if his family already owns a company. The rich kid says he came to learn from other businesses to become a good manager, always evolving. A woman asks if she can join his company if she cannot get an internship. The rich man says, of course, and she just needs to send her resume as she would fit right into the company. Freshmen looking for internships can apply to his company. He offers to help however he can since they are from the same college. People think he does not come there to learn, but just to show off and pick up women. The girls think the senior is humble, unlike Shin, who only has a coffee shop and chases older women. Having a coffee shop compared to a company is ridiculous in this girl's view. The other rich girl thinks it is better not to even talk about Yuan. After what he did, they lose respect for him. The senior asks the freshman if she has time to have dinner with him after the fair, and she accepts. Students know cars are prohibited on campus and wonder what is happening. After all, out of nowhere, a G-class parks there, grabbing everyone's attention. Gossip spreads across campus, saying the student who invested 10 million in the startup is the same one driving that car. If he is rich and a university student, he is more interesting than the other older student. Shen Yuan asks his 2 friends if they want a ride back to the dorm. At that moment, the girls are shocked to discover Shen Yuan is driving the car. His friend is stunned to see Shen Yuan behind the wheel of the G-Wagon. A gold digger approaches thinking Shen Yuan is just the car's driver. But looking through the window, she sees no one in the back seat. Shen Yuan's friends realize her intention and tell the girl to move because they are getting in the car. The girls wonder how someone like Shen Yuan can be so rich, and no one knew until now. They question if, even apologizing, Shen Yuan would forgive them, and they conclude he would not. The news that Shen Yuan owns the G-Wagon quickly goes viral across the college campus. The girls forget everything else, and their only goal becomes the protagonist. If he were a 60-year-old billionaire, they would have doubts. But Shen Yuan is 21 and handsome. They find his number and decide to try and win over our playboy hero. One of the girls, even with a boyfriend, states that if she gets a chance with Shen Yuan, she will dump her boyfriend instantly. Long Jinghan talks to Fu Yingxi about working with Shen Yuan at the startup. Long Jinghan asks Fu Yingxi to introduce Shen Yuan to her. Fu Yingxi replies that Long Jinghan should focus on radio since she is in her 2nd year. Long Jinghan argues that the job market is competitive and she wants to prepare now. That is why she has a sudden interest in entrepreneurship. Fu Yingzi obviously does not believe the lie. Long Jinghan is known as the Little Dragon Maiden for her sculpted body and short stature. Later, Fu Yingzi changes her mind realizing she is trying to arrange a marriage for Shen Yuan. Many online comments pop up on Shen Yuan's phone, but he does not even look at them. Shen Yuan says the number of messages and the harassment he is suffering is a bit disgusting. His friend asks if Shen Yuan is hooking up with so many women that he is already feeling sick. Shen Yuan replies that if it were just women, it would be fine. But the problem is that many guys are also adding him. Even girls who cannot talk to Shen Yuan are messaging his friends. Our hero asks his friends not to reply to these girls. His friends get annoyed because they have not been with anyone for years, while Shen Yuan is with many. Shen Yuan thinks that for every 500 reputation points, he gets a lottery chance, able to win exclusive skills or attribute points. He concludes that if it were not for this system mission, he would not even waste time on fame and reputation. For Shen Yuan, no matter how much people talk about him, it is worth nothing if it does not have a real impact on the students. He wants to gain their respect and increase his reputation, which is currently 33. At this moment, Shen Yuan decides to talk to Fu Yingzi and sends a message asking to meet her at the office soon. Next, he calls Hui Hui, who asks if she can spend time with him today. Shen Yuan also tells Hui Hui to go to his office at school. Now that he is famous, Shen Yuan cannot walk around with Hui Hui to avoid gossip. Shen Yuan tells his friends he is leaving and that they should not expect him back today. He states that their time to find women will come even with summer ending. When Shen Yuan meets Hui Hui, she hugs him. Shen Yuan calls her to talk inside the office. Hui Hui comments that he is famous and all the girls on campus know him. She says they even leaked Shen Yuan's data online and he thinks the college students are too emotional. Hui Hui advises Shen Yuan to protect himself more because men also need protection. Shen Yuan asks why Hui Hui closed the window. Hui Hui says it's to show him some things she wants to try. However, Shen Yuan refuses as he has a meeting right now. Hui Hui makes a sensual gesture to provoke Shen Yuan. Meanwhile, Fu Yingzi hears a strange noise coming from inside Shen Yuan's office and realizes it's not business talk. Knowing her boss is powerful, Fu realizes the conversation isn't normal and hides. As a secretary, Fu's role is to stay by the door so no one hears what's happening inside. A class period passes and Fu realizes they still aren't finished and she is already tired. The door opens and Hui Hui exits, looking at Fu as if to ensure the man is hers. Hui Hui approaches Fu and asks what the boss wanted to talk about. Shen Yuan says the buzz is great because of Hui Hui. However, Hui Hui, with humility, says she couldn't have done it alone. Shen Yuan says that with this hype, the project will attract many people and he wants ideas with potential. Hui Hui asks what the criteria will be and Shen Yuan asks that it matches the school's new vibe. Even if it's not a top-tier college, they will have an advantage. The advantage is that the female students are very beautiful. Fu wonders if Shen Yuan spent the money just to find beautiful girls, like a concubine selection. Fu asks if that's really what Shen Yuan wants, and he affirms that it is. They are offering opportunities. And with many people signing up, they should choose whoever pleases them most. Fu will do the first filtering and then pass the options to Shen Yuan. Fu finds it strange that Shen Yuan chooses people who are pleasing to the eye with an air of mission as if it were something noble. Shen Yuan asks if Fu finished the second phase test, and she affirms that the test is ready. Fu understands that Shen Yuan wanted to set up this test as an excuse to cut people without causing trouble. Fu gives her boss the idea to leak the answers to the candidates they want, and Shen Yuan thinks it's a good idea. Yingzi wonders about the difference between her and the ancient officials who brought women to the emperor. Yingzi wonders what happens if these girls end up fighting each other, and in the end, the choice is up to each individual. Those who don't sign up won't even be considered. Fu Yingzi earns 10,000 per month and loyalty is part of that package. Secretary Fu Yingzi shows the boss the first candidate. Shen Yuan asks how old the candidate is and Fu Yingzi starts talking about her body size. Shen Yuan corrects her, saying he wants to know the girl's actual age. Then, Fu Yingzi states the candidate is 19 years old and her nickname is Little Dragon Maiden. Shen Yuan realizes he will have to tame the dragon, and first, he must get closer. He asks the secretary for the candidate's number. Shen Yuan receives a message from the married woman from the coffee shop, inviting him for a drink tonight. He does not expect to see her again so soon. Shen Yuan wonders if it will just be a drink and tells her it can be tonight. The woman is happy, he replied, so late and already feels the butterflies of a first teenage love. She wants time to fly until 9 o'clock tonight to meet Shen Yuan. When Shin Yuan goes to his car, he finds a naughty note from some college girl. In addition, 2 other women appear and invite Shin Yuan to go to the mall. Shin Yuan refuses, saying he is picking someone up soon. He also says his list is full and he is not accepting more contacts for now. The students feel humiliated by Shin Yuan. After all, pretty girls also humiliate them. They know Shin Yuan is seriously rich because he drives a 3 million car and they will never have that money. The 2 students start fighting because they feel they have little pride as men. They claim that if they could live without worrying about money, they would easily swear loyalty to Shin Yuan. They think it is not even so bad to be Shin Yuan's slave. At 9 o'clock, Shin Yuan meets the woman for the drink, and she asks if he is having problems at home. Then, the woman decides to ask Shin Yuan an unusual question. She asks if Shin Yuan believes in love. Shin Yuan believed during high school because the feeling of a racing heart with first love was real. After it ends, Shin Yuan never feels that again. Not with Zhou, not with Nana, and certainly not with Lu and Hui. It always feels empty, but Shin Yuan tells the married woman that he believes. However, the woman feels Shin Yuan's answer is too vague and suddenly receives a call. She states she called the air conditioner technician and decides to schedule a visit. The woman informs him the technician can come anytime afternoon or morning the next day. Lin explains the air conditioner broke a few days ago and she is sleeping only with the fan. Shin Yuan says she did not need to call anyone because he knows how to fix it himself, surprising Lin. He decides to use the skill package exchange card. The available packages are cooking, combat, home repairs, and basic driving. Shin Yuan redeems the home repairs package. Now he masters repairing TVs, refrigerators, and air conditioners. His fingers seem more agile, and his skill with tools is enhanced. Shin Yuan states he knows how to fix things and learned through practice, then asks if Lin's husband is home. When Lin replies that Zhang is not there, Shin Yuan immediately starts fixing the air conditioner. Zhang will not return that day, and the son is with his grandparents. However, Shin Yuan's presence in Lin's house, even to fix the air, becomes a strange situation. Shin Yuan explains the air conditioner is just dusty. He says washing the filter will make it good as new. Before Shin Yuan came in, Lin thought he might try something since they were alone, but it seems he only came to fix the AC. Lin's mind is a mess. She needs a shower to think and tells Shin Yuan she's going to wash up. 15 minutes later, Lin returns, and the air conditioner is already on. Lin doesn't even know how to thank Shin Yuan, seeing the AC working. Shin Yuan says he knows a way for Lin to thank him. Lin replies she can't do that, fearing her husband might come home. After asking why, Shin Yuan says if something breaks, whether in the house or in the heart, he can fix it. Shin Yuan begins an intense act, and Lin seems to enjoy it. Lin thinks of this as payment for fixing conditioner. Lin realizes this is what they call truly letting go. Compared to this, being with Zhang was a complete waste of time because he was too weak. At that moment, Zhang, Lin's husband, arrives home tired and very stressed. He went out drinking and got annoyed by a woman who tried to get with him that night. Suddenly, they hear the sound of the door opening, and Lin goes into shock. Lin quickly stands up, unable to believe her husband, Zhang, is back home. Lin tells Shin Yuan to be quiet. If Zhang finds out, she will lose the advantages she would have in a divorce. Shin Yuan says he will lock the door, and Lin wonders how he stays so calm in this situation. Zhang thinks no one is home. However, the running air conditioner irritates him because it's wasting energy. He thinks Lin is useless. She spends the whole day doing nothing, not taking care of the house, and there isn't even any water. Zhang wonders why the bedroom door is locked from the inside and starts to get even angrier. Shin Yuan speaks in a low voice, saying he doesn't want to put Zhang in a difficult situation. Drunk Zhang asks if Lin is mad at him for coming home late just because he went to socialize after work. Meanwhile, Shin Yuan and Lin continue their act, not caring about Zhang's arrival. Angry, Zhang demands to enter the room and says he won't fulfill his husbandly duties, leaving them for the next day. Then, Zhang collapses onto the bed, drunk, and immediately falls asleep. Lin asks Shin Yuan to make less noise because her husband is on the other side of the wall. Shin Yuan says Zhang snores like a pig and won't hear or know anything that's happening. Shin Yuan claims Zhang snores so much that his own body ends up reacting unintentionally. Lin thinks Shin Yuan is playing with danger and doesn't want to get carried away by emotion. Lin tries very hard not to make any noise, so Zhang hears nothing. The next morning, Zhang wakes up with a hangover. He's sure the bartender spiked his drink. He notices Lin hasn't made coffee in 2 years and wonders what's gotten into his wife. A proper wife at home and adventures outside is the life Zheng wants. Zheng asks if Lin slept well. After all, she locked the bedroom door again. Looking very good, Lin says she slept perfectly. Zheng thinks it's strange. When Lin changes out of nowhere, it means something is going on. He wonders if Lin is plotting something against him. Still suspicious, the husband checks the sheets and the trash can, but finds nothing suspicious. He concludes he's imagining things and decides to have breakfast with his wife. However, he mentions hearing a noise in the wall and asks if she heard it too. His wife, feigning ignorance, claims she slept deeply and heard nothing. She then comments that the air conditioner, which was broken, now works perfectly. She explains she called a technician to fix it. The husband realizes the noise he heard was from the repair, and his heart calms. At a coffee shop, Li Ying, Zhou's best friend, notices Zhou hasn't slept in 2 days. Zhou reveals the reason is her ex-boyfriend, Shen Yuan, who became a millionaire, which makes her extremely sad. Li Ying asks which ex, and Zhou confirms it's Shen Yuan as she's never had another. Li Ying expresses surprise, remembering Shen Yuan was broke and had even sold his car. Zhou explains that after their breakup, Shen Yuan prospered, buying an apartment and a car for another woman. Shocked by the mention of over 5 million, Li Ying questions if the money isn't fake. Zhou then shows that the woman in question is her personal trainer, who posted stories with the car and even quit her job to be with Shen Yuan. Zhou feels unlucky, regretting leaving Shen Yuan for Hojin, while her ex now swims in money. Li Ying tries to console her, saying the past is behind her and that with her looks and job at an airline, Zhou will find a good match. However, Zhou declares that nowadays, she's only interested in men with at least 10 million. Li Ying is shocked when Zhou reveals she wants to get back with Shen Yuan. The problem is he blocked her, and she can't find him at college, questioning how he got so rich. Li Ying suggests Zhou lowers her standards a bit. Annoyed, Zhou replies that Li Ying knows her and knows she can't do that. Her heart aches thinking the money Shen Yuan spends on other women should be hers. She asks her friend to help her go after Shen Yuan. Li Ying then starts typing frantically, jokingly asking Zhou for the number of a psychiatric hospital. Meanwhile, at a hotel, Coach Lu Menglu observes the view. Shen Yuan asks what she's doing standing there looking out the window. Lu Menglu comments that she finds it strange that even with the training plan and diets, Shen Yuan's results are far above normal. Shen Yuan states he's different from others, and that's why everything worked out so well. His brain immunity and activity significantly improved due to the exercises, which will become routine. He reflects that many people live with poor health and decides to work to improve their health, obviously earning money and building a good reputation. Shen Yuan tells his trainer not to wait for him as he has other commitments. Lu Menglu replies that it's fine and she will wait for him. She plans to prepare a meal and workout clothes for Shen Yuan every morning, intending to stay by his side forever. Shen Yuan thinks about his achievements. Huai was the first to be with him and he gave her 2 bags, but with his dream of earning billions, she ended up receiving very little. While Nana and Meng got a house and a car, he decides he will compensate Huai as he feels he owes her. Min Hu talks with her cousins at a restaurant near the college campus. She assures them she's doing well with her classmates and invites them to eat as much as they want. The cousins ask about the job market for international trade majors and if she's starting an internship soon. Min Hu replies that her internship starts next semester and she hasn't thought about her career yet. When her cousins insist she should plan because the college is considered weak, she states she already knows that. They then ask if she's dating as it's harder to find someone after college. One of the cousins mentions that Xiang, who is in her final year, is already interning and will be hired permanently after the internship. The cousin offers to introduce someone to Min Hui, but she reveals she's already dating and won't need it. She explains she didn't tell her family due to lack of time and that her boyfriend studies with her. They've only been together for 2 weeks. The cousin warns that dating is no joke and finding a man at a second-tier college might not be a good idea. However, Min Hui thanks them for their concern, but assures them her future won't be difficult. Min Hui's cousin says that coming from a second-tier college, she and her boyfriend will have to work very hard to get a house. He states he's worried Min Hui's boyfriend isn't much and will be content with little. Min Hui tells her cousins they don't need to worry about her because Xiang is nothing compared to her boyfriend. She then says she has to leave early, standing up from the dinner table. Min Hui states her later appointment is to buy an apartment with her boyfriend. The cousins are in shock and start firing questions about Min Hui's boyfriend and the city, which is very expensive. That is until Shin Yuan appears outside, and Min Hui confirms that his family situation is good, and he has plenty of money. When Shin Yuan arrives, he asks Min Hui if she is ready to go, and is introduced to her cousins. Shin Yuan apologizes, saying he cannot join them because he scheduled an apartment viewing with Min Hui. However, he insists on paying their bill. The cousins reply that there is no problem as they will soon be family and will see each other more often. The cousins wonder if Shin Yuan is really going to buy an apartment, concluding it must be true since he drives a car worth 3 million. They also feel ashamed for having tried to set Min Hui up with one of their own cousins. Min Hui's cousin admits she has never felt so embarrassed in her life, turning red with shame. Shin Yuan buys a 166 square meter apartment costing 3 million for Min Hui. The purchase yields a cashback of 6 million, bringing Shin Yuan's total balance to 31 million. Min Hui says she does not know how to thank him. And in response, Shin Yuan teases her. He says that in a little while, he will put on an adult movie for her, claiming she will learn quickly. Min Hui's affinity jumps to 93 when Shin Yuan says these indecent things to provoke her. Her affinity level rises from 91 to 93. To reach 100, she will need dedication, and Shin Yuan promises to try tonight. Meanwhile, Shin Yuan receives a message from a freshman girl asking what he is doing. She asks for entrepreneurship tips. Shin Yuan accepted her friend request but does not reply to the messages. The freshman thinks that no matter how busy Shin Yuan is, he could at least reply to her on WhatsApp. Her friends say it is better not to get involved as the competition for Shin Yuan is absurd, and chasing him will be a waste of time. They decide to focus on their studies and do research in the library. However, the freshman wants to please Shin Yuan and does not think that approach will work. She thinks Shin Yuan is handsome, rich, and must have millions in the bank, so she does not judge the girls chasing him. After all, she is doing the same and will focus on finishing her business proposals. Shin Yuan asks Min Hui what she wants to do in the future, and she replies that she wants to try entering the incubator program. Shin Yuan states he has other companies and can find a way for Min Hui to get rich. He knows that if she stays all over him on campus, she will lose the chance to build her all-female team. Therefore, Shin Yuan pitches other business ideas and lists the names of several adult movie actresses. Min Hui feels embarrassed and asks how Shin Yuan knows so many names. She settles for his answer that he just researched them all. She picks one with her eyes closed, and 20 minutes later, things get heated between them. Mi Hui can hardly believe she learned those moves and asks if Shin Yuan will see her more often because of it. She wonders if there are 10 other girls just like her doing things solely to please him. The next morning, Shin Yuan wakes up to his phone vibrating and Min Hui shouting. He receives a call from Li Yuhang who sounds desperate, asking what happened. Li Yuhang tells Shin Yuan to stop stalling and come to the location he sent, which worries Shin Yuan. He changes his plans, but Li Yuhang suddenly changes the meeting spot when Shin Yuan is almost there. Shin Yuan gets irritated because Li Yuhang moved the location at the last minute. However, Li Yuhang claims he just arrived because he was dragged there and insists Shin Yuan come over. He offers no explanation, saying he will wait downstairs, and if Shin Yuan takes more than half an hour, he is leaving. Shin Yuan realizes this new spot is dangerously close to the counselor's house and hopes he does not have the bad luck of running into her. A stranger asks Shin Yuan why he is just standing there when he could be enjoying himself, claiming girl number 98 is incredible. Shin Yuan refuses, saying he already has plenty of beautiful women by his side and has no interest in entering that place. The man admires Shin Yuan's car, saying it is his dream vehicle. Shin Yuan replies that he just bought the G-Class. He tells the man to cut it out and asks why Li Yuhang called him there. Li Yuhang reminds him that he is a partner in the bar and cannot just vanish, as the renovations will be done in 2 days. Li Yuhang wants Shin Yuan to go inside to talk and check the service, eager to show him girl number 98. Suddenly, Li Meng and the counselor spot Shin Yuan on the street and recognize him immediately. Shin Yuan's friend notices his expression shift, assuming Shin Yuan is interested in girl number 98. Ashamed, Shin Yuan thinks it is a terrible coincidence to run into the teacher right there. His friend then asks who the women are. Shin Yuan asks them to wait, but Li Meng drags the counselor away. Shin Yuan asks if the counselor is on her way to cook and offers to help her. Furious, Li Meng says Shen Yuan has no shame standing in a place like that and that he has hurt her sister. Shen Yuan tries to explain, saying they got it all wrong and that he was just waiting for a friend. Li Meng finds his excuse completely idiotic and reveals that the counselor had made a real effort to accept him. She even bought a return gift for the bag Shen Yuan gave her. But now Li Meng tells him to get out of their sight immediately. Meanwhile, the teacher's affinity points start plummeting, dropping down to 60. This ridiculous situation ruined everything just when Shen Yuan was close to winning her over. His friend asks if he needs help explaining the situation to his new girlfriend. Shen Yuan replies that the girl is furious and that his friend's explanation would not help at all right now. Shen Yuan feels down because this time he really hurt the counselor. His friend comments he's never seen her before. Shen Yuan explains the counselor is his English teacher for the international trade course. Shen Yuan's friend is surprised to learn he's involved with his teacher and comments that Shen Yuan hid it very well. Shen Yuan wants a chance to explain everything to the counselor and then they can go somewhere quieter to talk. When he meets Chun Na, she's happy Shen Yuan came to the cafe. Shen Yuan says he brought a friend for coffee. Chun Na orders a latte and an iced Americano. Shen Yuan's friend comments he's seen Chun Na somewhere before, but he can't remember where. Shen Yuan then explains that Chun Na was Lin Guangyao's cousin's girlfriend. Shen Yuan's friend asks if he got involved with Lin Guangyao's cousin's girlfriend and how Chun Na ended up at that cafe. Shen Yuan says it was a mutual attraction between them. Shen Yuan's friend finds it absurd that he's involved with both his teacher and a friend's ex-girlfriend. Cutting the conversation short, Shen Yuan says he wants to step away from the bar and that his friend should handle everything. Shen Yuan's friend says he's not sure if he can manage the bar without him. Shen Yuan replies that he trusts his friend and knows too much interference can cause a clash of ideas and ruin their friendship. Shen Yuan's friend promises he'll do everything not to disappoint him. At that moment, Shen Yuan's coffee arrives. He thanks the woman serving him and calls her sister-in-law. The woman tells her boyfriend, Shen Yuan's friend, that his shirt is wrinkled and fixes it for him. Shen Yuan notices they are so close that being there makes him miss having a relationship in his life. Chun Na's younger sister wants experience during the holidays and thought about working at the cafe. Shen Yuan says it's a great idea. After that, Chun Na goes to take a shower as it was a tough day. Meanwhile, Shen Yuan decides to call the counselor to explain himself. However, the counselor doesn't answer, and Shen Yuan wonders if she's okay. Li Meng says Shen Yuan has the nerve to call and tells the counselor to block him immediately. Li Meng states that Shen Yuan isn't worth the counselor's sadness as he's a man of bad character. The teacher wonders why men like places like that, which are brothels. Li Meng replies that most men are like that. The counselor then wonders why she's suffering if she already knows what men are like. Li Meng says men chase excitement and when their needs aren't met they seek out those places. The counselor starts to think it's her fault for not helping Shen Yuan relieve himself and that he went to the brothel because of it. She starts blaming herself non-stop and Li Meng gets angry, telling her to stop. Li Meng asks the counselor what happened when she fell in love last time. Remembering what happened, the counselor controls herself and doesn't get carried away by emotion. Many colleagues who never even spoke to Shen Yuan start asking for business opportunities. Shen Yuan doesn't even want to respond to them, but the Dragon Maiden sent some messages. She sent trivialities about the weather and wind on campus. Shen Yuan knows her photos are edited and wants to see her delicacy in person. So Shen Yuan turns off his phone and says he will reply when he's not busy. Shen acts dryly with the freshman, wanting to play hard to get to increase her interest. At this moment, Nana appears wearing a blazer and sensual clothes, calling Shen. Testing his willpower, Shen fails and tears Nana's clothes. He can't resist because Nana is too beautiful and starts kissing her. Nana notices Shen is stronger and asks if he's been going to the gym. As they go to the couch, Shen asks Nana if she knows how to ride a horse. Shen says that today he will be like a horse for her to ride and then he will truly take her horseback riding. When Nana states she doesn't quite know how that works, Shen teaches her. Shen really likes the way Nana does it and they get up to mischief. Meanwhile, at the university, hundreds of students submit their projects to the professor. Before, no one asked for startup grants, but now all students want them. After this, Shen is on the treadmill with Meng Lu and receives a call from the secretary. The secretary informs Shen that they received the first batch of startup projects totaling over 600. The gender ratio is 628 women and only 25 men. Shin asks the secretary to handle the screening. He instructs her not to reject all the men because if any have a decent project, she can send it through. If it's just pretty women, it turns into a dance group. Training talents is useful because if he acquires system companies, he won't have anyone to manage them. Meng Lu gets jealous of Shin's coworker. Meng Lu says she's not jealous, and Shin states his relationship with Fu is professional. Shin knows that when a third girl reaches an affection level above 90, he will get a bonus. A loving phrase from Meng Lu caused this rise in her affection level. Shin wants to see what generous prize the system will grant for having another girl with 90 affection. The prize is a 5mm increase to his organ, 30 million in exclusive funds plus new abilities. The family fund is for his parents and he still has abilities saved, but the increase surprises him. Shin asks the system to activate the first reward and feels a warmth below his navel. Stopping his cardio, Shin calls Meng Lu in a different way without explaining anything. When they go to take a post-workout shower, Meng Lu is in shock. Meng Lu says there's something different about Shin and thinks it has to do with the workouts. Shin says it might have been Meng Lu who changed this in him. Scared, Meng Lu asks Shin to go easy on her. Shin notices this change had a big effect and promises to be careful. He lets the coach rest after all. An emergency just appeared. Shin knows his other women will also have to adapt to his new spear. A day after the incident with the counselor, Shin gets scared seeing she doesn't respond or answer his calls. Shin thinks only by talking in person will she understand he didn't do anything and that it was all a misunderstanding. So he knocks on her door, lying and saying he's a downstairs neighbor. When she opens it and sees Shin, she recognizes him and says he's lying again. Shin asks to enter her house. She asks why he wants to enter and what he's going to try to do. Shin says he wants to explain himself because she misunderstood everything the day before. The counselor states she won't believe he went to that place and did nothing. However, Shin says he really didn't do anything there. She says she doesn't want explanations and also doesn't believe Shin. Shin states his childhood friend changed the meeting location to that club because he wanted to talk. It was a coincidence they saw him there and he tried to call to explain, but she refused his calls. The counselor asks how Shin can prove he was just waiting for someone and did nothing. Shin shows the conversation where his friend changes the location from a restaurant to the club. He explains that when he arrived there, he rushed his friend to come down and says she can even see it on the security cameras. The explanation and the proof are convincing, and the counselor believes Shin. The affection level rises to 70 when Shin explains he would never frequent a place like that. The girl apologizes upon understanding his side, and the score jumps to 72. Happy with the resolution, the protagonist asks if he can come in for a glass of water. She immediately realizes he's trying to repeat the same trick from last time. The hero swears he came running and is dying of thirst, promising not to try anything. Even suspicious, she tells him to wait where he is and goes in to get the water. Seconds later, she returns with the glass. Shin doesn't understand the counselor's judging gaze, as if he's a pervert. A neighbor watching everything comments that the best things don't happen in a hurry and the boy needs to be patient. However, the protagonist retorts, saying he who rushes gets the hot meal and he who delays gets the scraps. The older woman is charmed by his boldness and thinks about hiring a similar companion. The visit was worth it to resolve the misunderstanding, as he gains an invitation to go out and increases their affinity. Later, Su Zhuwei invites our hero to a video call. She informs him that the electrical and plumbing work is complete and asks when he can see it. Shin says he's coming right now and tells Su to wait for him. Half an hour later, he arrives and questions why she's so nervous, acting as if he's going to do something improper. They enter, and Zhuwei shows him everything step by step. He notices she changes her demeanor and becomes very professional when talking about her technical field. The patio was made to our protagonist's exact specifications. Shin feels at ease watching Su organize everything and says he will take her to dinner. However, she says she needs to go home because she has to make dinner for her brother and mother. Suddenly, she walks and bumps into Shun, who purposely stopped in front of her. Looking into the girl's eyes, Yuan says she is very beautiful, leaving her shy and speechless. At that moment, it starts raining heavily and they need to run for shelter. When the girl's shirt gets soaked, she asks him not to look, but the protagonist can't help it, admiring her beauty. When Su sneezes because of the cold, Shin says he will warm her up and hugs her from behind with the excuse of protecting her from the wind. Sue has never been this close to a man and feels her body react, but she doesn't refuse, remembering that he is the company's biggest client. Noticing the girl's fixed gaze, Shin jokes and asks if she's hypnotized by his beauty. Sue questions if he's arrogant or just joking, not knowing how to respond. Shin realizes the girl is too innocent as she can't handle a simple tease. He feels he can advance since she wasn't truly bothered and just became awkward. 30 minutes later, the rain stops. Shin releases her arm, apologizes, and offers to take her home. 40 minutes later, he drops her off at home and asks to come up. Shin already imagined the family situation wasn't easy, but he didn't expect them to live in a practically abandoned building. Sue warns that she'll have to cook and won't be able to give him attention. On the street, the neighbors notice the luxury car arriving and wonder if it's Sue's boyfriend. They think it's likely she's found someone, but they doubt the guy's intentions. Rich people only care about status, and in their eyes, he wouldn't bother with a humble family, only looking for innocent girls for fun. The man with the neighbors asks them to show respect and stop gossiping about Sue's difficult life. Sue's brother is very happy with her return. Sue is going to prepare something for him as he must be hungry. Sue's mother was about to ask about her younger brother, and Sue introduces him as Jie Zinho. Su Jingjie, Sue's younger brother, is a bit shy and doesn't even greet Shen Yuan. Meanwhile, Sue's mother suddenly stands up wanting to stretch her legs and asks who the man is. Su Shuewei introduces Shen Yuan as a friend. However, Sue's mother finds it strange. After all, Sue has never brought a man home before. Sue's mother thinks he might be a boyfriend and thanks him for the food Shen Yuan brought. Shen Yuan sits down while Sue prepares dinner. Su Jingji goes to get a glass of water for the guest. 30 minutes later, the food is ready and everyone gets ready to eat. Su Jingji is very happy with his older sister's cooking. Sue's mother tells Shen Yuan he can eat as much as he wants. Shen Yuan says Sue's mother is very kind and just being able to try Sue's food is already great. Shen Yuan understands why Sue has a different demeanor. She has become the foundation of the house and needs to be strong for her family. Sue says she will transfer the money for the food Shen Yuan bought back to him. Shen Yuan, our protagonist, asks to borrow Sue's phone. Then he says goodbye and leaves. Su Shuewei picks up her phone and is shocked to see a transfer of 50,000 yuan. From the window, Sue starts yelling for Shen Yuan to come back, but he pretends not to hear. 50,000 yuan isn't much for Shen Yuan, and it would help Sue's life for a while. He just doesn't know if she will accept it. Shen Yuan also didn't see Sue's affinity points and feels like he is recovering something he lost. At that moment, his secretary calls Shen Yuan, and they start talking. Fu Yingzi says the list is ready. They selected 12 people, 1 woman for 11 men. Shen Yuan says Fu Yingzi did a good job and will get a bonus this month because of it. It's Shen Yuan's father's birthday, and he will give a gift that could be a 30 million fund. He has the 3 women, and it will be 1 night with each. Shen Yan will have to balance everything and juggle. A neighbor asks if the man who came earlier was Su Shuewei's boyfriend. Sue's mother doesn't know, but she says Shen Yan seems rich because his car costs 3 million. If Sue marries Shen Yan, the family's life will change drastically, and it's better to talk to the girl. Sue's marriage is her choice, and her mother doesn't want her to feel obligated to marry someone rich. Sue's mother doesn't know what Sue feels, but she must like Shen Yuan because he came to the family's house. And that's why if Sue isn't that interested in the guy, her mother should give her a push. Sue's mother thinks they are rushing things too much because the man only came to rest for a bit and that doesn't mean anything. However, the other neighbor thinks that if Shen Yuan went there, it's because something is happening. Maybe Shen Yuan was interested, but after seeing the family's situation, he changed his mind instantly. This conversation makes Sue's mother angry. She goes back inside the house and asks her daughter to tell her everything. Sue's mother asks about her relationship with the man who came earlier. Sue says Shen Yuan is a company client who went to see the house, and she got a ride after the rain started. When Sue's mother asks if Shen Yuan is interested in her, Sue notices he was different that day. When they had lunch last time, there was a beautiful girl with Shen Yuan who seemed to be his girlfriend. Confused, Sue tells her mother she doesn't know what she feels for Shen Yuan. Sue says that question is invasive. After all, Shen Yuan is just a company client. Sue's mother tells her not to mind what Aunt Zhang said earlier, and says Sue has been supporting the house alone. Sue has done more for her mother and brother than they could ask for, and her mother just wants her to be happy. Then mother and daughter hug. At that moment, Sue starts recalling Shen Yuan's hugs and blushes. Meanwhile, Shen Yuan is with Coach Lu Menglu in the hotel bed. The two have fun and enjoy a great night. A woman from the decoration store is happy Shen Yuan finally answers. She apologizes for the bother and says she wants to talk about apprentice Su Shuawei. Shen Yuan goes to the store and asks if something happened to Su since she called so early. The woman from the store then says Shen Yuan transferred 50,000 yuan and Su returned it, but he did not accept. The woman asked Shen Yuan not to take it the wrong way, but Su was uncomfortable at work. Su is the type who will not accept the money, as it is a delicate matter, and she wants Shen Yuan to take it back. He asks if he was called there just for this reason. The woman from the store then explains that Su is not a gold digger, and if he wants to win her over, he will have to try harder. He, however, states that he wants nothing with Su and only sent the money because he wanted to. He decides there is no point in arguing and that he will end up accepting the transfer. Shin notices that Su sent 200 more, probably to cover the market expenses he made the day before. He then asks if Juan has made Su entertain clients and drink at project meetings lately. The woman from the decoration store replies that Su's only job right now is to supervise his project. He thanks her and says goodbye, ending the meeting. The woman from the store thinks it would be good if Su stayed with Shun, as her life and her family's would change, but Su has principles. She reflects that nowadays, many women choose easy paths, and girls like Su are a rarity. Meanwhile, a married woman asks Shun if he is free tonight for another drink. Shun, the womanizer, replies that they do not need to go to a cafe and can go straight to her house. The married woman warns that her husband could arrive at any moment, and Shun thinks this makes the situation even more thrilling. She says Shun can come right now as he needs energy to fix another air conditioner. The married woman promises she will make food for Shin when he arrives. At 6 in the evening, when Shin arrives at her house, the married woman is already preparing food. She informs him that she is making pork ribs with paprika and orange. Seeing that she prepared specific ingredients, Shin realizes that married women are truly experienced. Approaching her from behind, Shun asks if she has made this dish for her husband before. However, she states that it is the first time she is making it as she saw the recipe online. Shin asks what time her husband arrives and she replies it will be around 9 at night. Because of this, they have an hour and a half until Zhang arrives. Shin notices something different from last time and asks the married woman if she liked it. The married woman can barely respond, and then an hour passes. Shin Yuan tastes the dish and says it is great. It does not even seem like it is the first time she is making it. She says she can make it more often for Shun in the future, and he asks if it would not be complicated. However, the married woman reveals that she has already given up on divorcing and now truly wants to be happy. Shun is happy with the news and congratulates her for the courage to take this step. Even though he likes being with married women, her happiness comes first. The woman thanks Shin and says she made this decision because of him. Her affinity with Shin immediately jumps to 69, and Yuan states he is not a home wrecker. This is great for Shin, who can now spend money on her without worry after the divorce. He wonders if her affection score increases with affection, and with a few small purchases it should easily hit 90 points. Meanwhile, her husband, Zhang, notices a G-Wagon parked in their complex. Zhang doesn't know anyone who drives that car, but the man inside looks familiar. He remembers it's the rich guy who bought a car for Chennai and doesn't understand why he's here. Zhang sees that Chenna even made pork ribs and thinks they are for him. Deep down, however, Chenna knows she didn't prepare such a good dinner for Zhang. Zhang asks Chenna to turn on the air conditioning, saying the fan is weak and there's no need to save on the electricity bill. Chenna worries Chen's scent is still in the house, which is why she turned on the fan. After finishing his meal, Zhang goes to take a shower, determined to satisfy Chenna. 10 minutes later, Zhang realizes the door is locked. He thinks he took too long in the shower and Chen-na must have already fallen asleep. Deng gets annoyed because he gave Chen-na a chance, but she didn't take it. He decides to save his energy and look for a younger woman. Meanwhile, on campus, many women gather for the startup project. The ratio is 11 women to 1 man, and most are the goddesses of the college. A senior from the flight attendant program stands out. She is perfect, and everyone is crazy about her. There's also freshman Aisha, who caused a stir as soon as she arrived. Plus, Zhang Man, the cosplay muse, who has 200,000 followers Instagram. One of the girls feels bad for coming dressed simply on a day when so many goddesses are gathered. Yen Song, the international trade class representative, is the only man present. He feels something is off because the girls are from the elite and the atmosphere doesn't feel like a typical business incubator. Yen Song thought Shin Yuan liked his business plan, but it was just an illusion. He wonders why he was put on the final list, being the only man among so many women. Seeing all those beautiful women, Yen Song realizes it's time for the boss to make his move. Another man appears, happy to find another Chinese person there. He is a class representative who didn't know he enjoyed entrepreneurship. Shin Yuan appears, and all the girls go wild at his arrival. The protagonist recognizes the Chinese man, whose name is Emojin Wang. Shin Yuan says they've moved to the next phase because their ideas are realistic and without empty promises. He recalls that one of them proposed a fried food stall project and the other a fruit stand. Since there's no fruit stand on campus, the project will fill a need with fair prices and will definitely be a hit. Mojin Wang thinks he's practically in the project and gets excited. He knows the ratio of men to women is for balance, as there would be too much gossip if it were just girls. On the forum, Mojin Wang states he has worked as a social media analyst and coordinated online campaigns. Shin Yuan asks if Emojin Wang has his own team, and Emojin Wang replies he has over 100 people and has run major campaigns. Shin Yuan says that's all for now, and he will start interviews with the other candidates. The protagonist thinks that once he opens his own company, Emojin Wang's contact will be very useful. Shin Yuan is surprised. He didn't expect to find such good and intelligent girls. Since Fu is working for Shin Yuan, she is doing her best to follow his orders. The interviews are over, and Shin Yuan asks what the junior is doing there. The junior approaches the senior, wanting to speak with President Shin alone. He allows the junior to enter and asks his assistant to step out for a moment. Then the junior asks what he wants to talk about and questions if she's been disqualified. After all, during the interview, Shin Yuan barely looked at her, focusing on the other two candidates instead. But he says the results will only come out after the second assessment. When the junior asks if she'll get another chance, Shin Yuan says he's already given her several chances. After all, letting her return to the room was already a chance for redemption. The junior already has her accounting certificate and is preparing for the junior economist exam. Even without experience, she can handle cash flow, financial reports, and other tasks. He questions if it wouldn't be more efficient to hire an experienced accountant instead of her. The junior says so many men chase her, they could form a line, and that she waited 2 years to find someone like Shin Yuan. She claims life doesn't offer chances like this all the time, and that she, the little dragon, will conquer Shin Yuan no matter what. The junior argues that even without experience, she has a face and body that surpass any female accountant. At that moment, the junior sits on Shin Yuan's lap and kisses his face. Shin Yuan finally agrees that female accountants are a dime a dozen, but a body like hers is rare. The junior starts unbuttoning Shin Yuan's shirt and asks what he thinks. He says she has a beautiful strong point, and they begin kissing intensely. 40 minutes later, Shin Yuan says if she's his, she won't regret it. Shin Yuan didn't expect her to be an untouched flower, and instructs her to go shopping this weekend. At this moment, the junior's affection level jumps to 60, and she knows she has a place in Shin Yuan's heart. Shin Yuan celebrates that Long Jinghan's affinity rate finally appears. 10 minutes later, Long Jinghan returns in pain after the act she performed with Shin Yuan. Fu Yingzi notices and asks if the junior really needed to do that. Long Jinghan tells the senior that everything is fine because she understands what true happiness is now. He prepares for his father's birthday and checks the car he ordered for him and the jewelry for his mother. The next day, his sister sees their father's car and wants to get her license by the holidays to have one just like it. His mother asks Shin Yuan not to spoil his sister, who just finished her exams and whose life is just beginning. His father says it's just a car and that the aunts and uncles are already waiting, so they should go. They head to the hotel and his sister tells their mother that she has a brother who loves her more. After this tantrum, his mother tells his sister to behave and get into the car immediately. Meanwhile, the relatives question the delay, irritated that they are waiting for the hosts. They argue that if there was a delay, they should have been informed since many guests arrived early. One of them comments that their son Yao borrowed money from the Shin family a long time ago and already paid it back. But now the Shuns are acting arrogantly. Hong called yesterday to inform them, but the old woman ended up forgetting to pass on the information. This shows how poorly planned it was, and they don't understand why only one family was informed and not everyone. For them, informing about the delay was an obligation for the hosts at a family party. A family member observes that everyone has already benefited from the Shin family, and now that they have gone bankrupt, they badmouth them. Now the Shuns act all important in front of everyone and believe the birthday dinner will be terrible. A woman tells third brother that the responsibility falls on him when the time comes. Old Shin's birthday dinner will be the talk of the town, and one family member knows it. He notices that third uncle has a new car and knows his factory is doing well. Yang, third uncle, says he's only earning a little extra and that when working in business, a decent car is necessary. A relative suggests Yang get a discounted monthly plan to take care of the new car. Yang tells his wife to call second brother because he's still arrogant even after going bankrupt. Yang's wife and Shun Yuan's mother have fought before, and Shun Yuan has always had better grades than their son. They wonder if something happened to the Shin family because they are taking too long. The cousin who defends the Shin family asks them to wait longer because it's second brother's birthday, and he's the one in charge. At that moment, Shun Yuan's entire family appears in the venue for the party. Old Shin apologizes for the delay, explaining they had a mishap and to make amends, he promises to take 3 shots. A kinder relative states that they didn't even wait that long and it's not dinner time yet. Yong's wife says waiting a little doesn't kill anyone, and Yong gets annoyed with her. Yong tells second brother that he should have given notice because if he was busy, they could have picked him up. Yong insinuates that second brother's family doesn't have a car, and that after being the focus for so long, it's Yang's time to shine. However, Shun Yuan says he will bother third uncle, and hopes he's always available. Yang finds Shun Yuan rude and decides to show off a bit in front of him now. Yang pulls a car key from his pocket while old Shin starts drinking the shots. Yang asks if second brother will drink so much and suggests he decide calmly because he's not at fault for anything. Yang stages this scene to drop his expensive car key on the floor. However, the car insurance cousin doesn't even see the key fall and doesn't move to help pick it up. He didn't want to close the deal just now, and Yao Dai won't fawn over Yang in front of others. Shin Yuan asks if third uncle bought a new car and returns the key to Yang. Yang says his Volvo was old and he wanted to upgrade. He claims he now has a BMW X7 and it wasn't even that expensive. Shin Yuan knows that model goes for less than 1 million and says his uncle was modest to claim it wasn't expensive. Yang got an intermediate version that cost 1 million and boasts about it. Yang always told second brother that the tourism industry is risky and unreliable. Shin Yuan pretends his uncle is amazing, and Yang replies that he's just trying to make a living. Yang's wife thinks Shin Yuan is a suck-up and thinks her husband showed off, almost humiliating them. Yang thinks it's better to be flashy so no one asks for money later. Shin Yuan tells his father that third brother just bought a BMW. He then asks how long his father plans to hide his own Maybach. Hearing this, Yang's wife, who believed the Shin family was bankrupt, suddenly realizes the Maybach costs a staggering 1,700,000.0. She immediately wonders where all this money came from. The cousins are equally shocked, demanding to know how Shin Yuan could afford such a car. Then, old Shin calmly states that his son gifted him the car, and he's simply enjoying the present. The entire family is baffled, questioning if this is even true and where such immense wealth appeared from. They remember second brother always being so serious, so they assume the drinks have gone to his head and he's clearly lying. Yang directly asks if this is some kind of joke and how Shin Yuan possibly bought that car. Shin Yuan, however, thinks old Shin has far too much patience. He believes that after Uncle Yang's earlier display, his father should have retaliated more forcefully. Then, a cousin interjects, revealing that Shin Yuan really shouldn't have bought such an expensive car, but he insisted. This cousin then drops the bombshell. Shin Yuan actually spent 3 million on the car, leaving everyone absolutely stunned by the astronomical price. Upon realizing Shin Yuan bought a $3 million car, everyone's minds race, desperately trying to figure out where he pulled all that money from. Suddenly, a woman from the restaurant approaches, asking if the G-Wagon belongs to him, explaining that the vehicle is blocking another car's path. When the protagonist calmly confirms the G-Wagon is indeed his and says he'll move it, the entire family is left utterly speechless, completely frozen in disbelief.